reason that I'm been successful with the artists I've been successful with is because I've been able to translate who they are and what they should be to the rest of the world, which don't look like us.
So I just gotta ask you this. I'm testing you right now,
right.
So it's putting you on blast. I know you can answer it. Okay, so I know for a fact that Japan, R&B music is huge over there,
yeah.
right? So if you want to be an R&B artist and you want to, like we dropped the album in Japan of demos and sold like 50,000 copies.
Right.
Like they buy physical, so I understand that.
Yeah.
But what kind of music do these other markets want? What's good, y'all? This is Ray Daniels, aka the Culture Referee, and I want to ask you: are you ever frustrated with uploading a video to YouTube and you get no views? I know I was when I first started. If you're a music artist and you have your own podcast or your content creator, look no further. WHAM Promotions has gotten you covered. They specialize in high-end targeted YouTube campaigns that deliver real views, real subscribers, and most importantly, real growth. So if you're struggling with real organic YouTube growth, I'm here to tell you to go on WHAM Promotions and use the promo code GAUDS and receive 20% when you check out. Tell them Ray sent you, you got 20% off. Let's go, guys. I'm looking to see you guys on the charts. Let's go. What's good, y'all? This is Ray Daniels, aka the Culture Referee, and welcome to the GAUDs Show. And y'all know when we do the GAUDs Show, that means the person that I'm talking to has to be special. The person I'm talking to has to be worthy of a GOAT conversation. And this dude right here is so what's the word I'm looking for, David? Help me with the word. You from? You said what? Deserving. This guy is deserving of this conversation. He's the person that I met. And I never forget, I met him and they said, that's the guy that has broken every black face since Mariah Carey overseas. And I'm like, no way. And they was like, they start telling me everywhere this guy went. They was like, you remember that company? Yeah. Remember how that guy? Yeah, that was him. I'm like, oh my God, he's that big. And I wanted to be friends with him. And that was about, 15 years ago? And now we're friends. This is my real bruv right here. I'm going to call him my real bruv. Everybody give it up for managing partner at 7 Grand Music. And also just all around great guy, international marketer, everything. Let's clap for David Miller, guys, please. By the way, I would have did a lead up for you.
Yeah.
But when you call your friends, people, and you tell them, you try to be professional, they be like, nigga, you know me. I was like, well, I need his bio. I want to do it right. He ain't got no bio. It's David. You know David. I'm like, okay, that is my nigga. I do know him. But let's welcome David, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm fantastic. Everything's good.
By the way, David is the guy who every black face overseas had needed to go. Jay-Z doesn't get on a plane to go overseas without this guy. Rihanna doesn't go over music. Now, if they going over there for their businesses, it's different. But if they going over there for music, they don't get on that plane to fly over the water without this guy right here. David, how the hell you get started, man?
I think just being ambitious. You know, I think we've all got the kind of same background. Us as black men, you know, being in the business for 20 years plus, we all come from, you know, humble backgrounds, being broke, and you come up and you look at people and situations and you aspire to be better. Yeah. Right? So I think there's something that's in us that creates ambition, that creates drive, and when you see an opportunity, you make sure you're kind of prepared for it.
Because from what I know, you had a limo service or you were a limo driver. You had a service in London.
So let me break it down to you.
Yeah, how you got this?
So I worked for a company.
How you go from a limo driver to breaking Mariah Carey? I need to know that.
Let me tell you what it was. I used to do events and parties and club nights in the UK, in London. Uh-huh. And we ended up being like probably myself and my business partner at the time ended up being probably the most prestigious black promoters in the country. Yeah. And that was one of the reasons was because we had access to an unbelievable venue in the UK called the Roof Garden in London. And so that kind of put us in an amazing position. And then we did a lot of events outside of that for labels and for brands and stuff like that. So that's how it started. Then everybody wanted to be kind of connected to us because we kind of...
Y'all were those guys.
Yeah, we were the guys. So we started doing parties for record company people and artists after show and stuff like that. And then when we started talking to the artists, we realized that they were coming in, they were being taken care of by like these mainstream people. That's how I'm going to put it. The mainstream.
Nah, let's go. By the way, I love talking to you because David is the one guy, guys, that every time I talk to, he opened my mind.
Right.
Like, cause you have this way of the world. So I want you go. I want you to do it, bro.
So they were being taken care of people that don't look like us.
Okay.
They couldn't find the food. They didn't know where to go. So we offered our services as people who are tastemakers and people who are connected. Like, hey, why don't we take care of these artists for you when they come into town? And let me tell you, back then, those record company people couldn't wait to get the black artists off their hands.
Really?
They didn't want to hang out with them.
Hang out, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
that's like that too. Still to this day.
Well, yeah. So we saw an opportunity. So as we start doing that, then we approached a company called Express Holdings, which were a bunch of Asian guys that I knew that had loads of money, had a car service and car rental, and we did a deal with them on the back of our company called Drum Media at the time. To purchase a bunch of vehicles because that way we could make more money.
Yeah, so you just thinking like I'm gonna have all of the cars. This is my business.
Everything.
This is my career.
Then we brought in black drivers, and then we turned them. We teach them, turn them into tour managers. So we were thinking way bigger.
That's crazy.
Now the crazy thing is this: in the UK, there's a culture of crabs in a barrel.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely, right? People in the US don't understand, black people in the US don't understand how lucky they are. Now, we understand there's pressures and opportunities that are not afforded to us and that we have to fight for. But on the whole, as a culture, we really work together really well.
Yes,
right?
we do.
Of course, there's one or two idiots that don't play the game, but on the whole, I've had nothing but love since I've come to this country. Sure. In the UK, it was like, oh, he's a limousine driver.
So they try to diminish you like, oh, he's just that.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Because trust me, back then we were making so much money.
I love that.
There was cars, there was drivers, plus the service we were providing, plus the promo schedule, plus the after show parties and the events, the showcases.
Yeah.
We were doing stuff for everybody. Like we were the main. So that we were really lucky because that coincided with the late 90s when our music really started to take off.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I'm thinking back, one of the real first crossover projects was Alicia Keys.
Right around 2000, 2001.
Right, with their first single. But then behind that was Drew Hill, Usher. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was a bunch of artists before that, Mary and Jodeci and everything that was a Bad Boy and Uptown Records. But they were still kind of urban, even though they were doing arenas around Europe, and people will kind of testify to that. Chart success, commercial success was hard to come by because you had to come back regularly. You had to play the game, talk to media, and they didn't have anyone kind of helping them understand that.
And the black artists, right? Because the one thing that you taught me that I appreciate is that black people are viewed differently in different markets.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and of course, in America, we got our own issues. So, I be worried about the shit we got to deal with. But,
next to a guy who's broke is a guy who's a black billionaire.
Yeah.
You turn your TV on, you have to pass BET.
Yeah.
You turn on the NBA, and there's 10 black dudes playing. You know what I'm saying? So we can't get confused with the bottom end. There's a top end too.
Yes.
So if you really want it, you can get it. When you travel the rest of the world, it's different because there's gatekeepers that don't look like us, right? And so there's all these kind of propaganda issues, like they will say, like, oh, the Premier League in the UK, which is the biggest league in the world, football soccer league in the world. Oh, there's 43% black players in the Premier League. 40% of them are from overseas.
Really?
What I'm telling you, brother, and I could go deeper, right? And there's a bunch of them that are mixed race.
Yeah.
They have a white parent. that's more acceptable on the training ground, in the offices. You know what I'm saying? Two black parents walking in, like, that's a whole different scenario. And no one wants to talk about that stuff.
I got it written down right here. Racism in the UK. I want to we could talk about it.
Right.
Like, when you always help me understand the differences, like, that's why I love you so much, because, you know, you're a well-spoken black man and you travel the world from here to fucking Australia like it's nothing. Man. But you always, the guys in the UK, it's like you guys are proud blacks.
Yes.
But you guys aren't like fighting proud blacks, like, right? It's like, it's not like fight the power. It's like, nah, I know who I am and I'm safe here.
Black people are only 3% of the country, right?
Okay.
So you got to count, the percentage of that 3% is old.
Yep.
A percentage of that 3% is young.
Yep.
So you've got this core of black men in the middle that, what, 1%? Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
1% of 77 million people, that's hard to, you've got no economic power.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a very difficult, so what you have to do is work together. If you don't work together, then you're never going to make any inroads.
Yeah.
And the problem is that opportunities are so scarce because of the institutionalized racism that actually, if there's an opportunity there, I don't want to tell Ray about it.
So America's racism is rooted in our ancestors were slaves.
Yes.
They were sold from Africa. We was brought here, and then right around the Jim Crow era, they started realizing we need rights, and we're still living with them. I always tell people, like, we live with our oppressor, right? How does the racism, what does it look like in the UK? Like, because you guys are like, it's a lot of Africans from the, what y'all, Yardies, what y'all call it?
Yardies,
Yeah.
no, you get the Caribbeans.
Yep.
You know, Jamaica, Dominica, St. Lucia, Barbados.
Yep.
Right? That are definitely descendants of slaves because they were slave ports.
Yeah.
But then you get nowadays, which is more modern, the Africans that come in from Nigeria and Ghana and everybody and everywhere else.
Because a lot of Africans that come to the UK, yeah.
A lot of the West Africans come to the UK. But a lot of French-speaking West Africans go to France.
Got you.
French-speaking, right?
For sure.
So, I mean, we can get stuck in the weeds of that, but basically, it's a difficult run for black people from the cradle to the grave.
Yeah.
Right? Every level. You can't get into a kindergarten. You can't get into the best schools. You can't even become a sportsman. You
Really?
can't. Yeah. It's really difficult, and everyone pretends that it doesn't exist.
Because you, by the way, you wouldn't know that, David. Like, I got so many friends from the UK, and it's like you don't hear, like, in America, we are talking about racism loud, but you guys are like very.
No, they
subtle.
don't want to talk about it because they feel like it narrows their opportunity to move forward. If they start waving the flag, then the institutions close ranks on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you got 50 million black people in the States. You don't have to be employed by a white man your entire life.
Yes.
And you can still be a multi-millionaire. You can't do that in the UK.
Damn.
No, no companies, no labels. But by the way, have you ever heard of a black global superstar outside of Sade?
From the UK.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right, it doesn't exist. There's been opportunities.
But you guys have plenty of white pop artists singing R&B, by the way.
Okay, right. So you're making my point for me.
Yes.
So we could get caught.
But I don't understand why. That's why I'm like, I don't.
It's institutionalized
It's the institution
racism.
is set up
yes,
like that. Yeah,
brother. Like, it's crazy. So it exists. Now, the crazy thing is this. When I was in the UK, the people that helped me were all white. I think that it's also the way you present yourself and how you work your opportunities. My dad used to say to me when he was alive, you know, like, there's no such thing as luck. It's when preparation meets opportunity. You have to be prepared. You have to be educated.
Yep.
You have to be hardworking. You have to have vision. When you see that opportunity, you sit down and you have a conversation.
Yeah.
I could tell you a million stories, right? So I'm going to give you a quick anecdote,
come on.
right? So I remember reading a story many years ago about affirmative action in the US, right? And really trying to understand it. And there was a construction company in Atlanta that had about 20, 25 staff.
Okay.
Right? And their turnover yearly, and I'm going to throw a number out, was 10 million a year.
Yep.
Right? There was also a white company in Atlanta with the same amount of staff. Their turnover was 45 million a year.
Why was it? What was the difference?
Because they're getting bigger contracts. They're getting paid more money for what they do.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you would think that the guy who's turning over 10 million a year doesn't need any help.
Yeah.
But black people in Atlanta are saying, oh, no. We don't care if he earns 10 million. He's supposed to be on the side. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. No one, any black man who's earning 10 million in the UK, he ain't making no noise.
He's not making no noise.
He's happy for that 10 million. He don't care about that white man earning 40 million. Even though his company's the same.
He's not talking about discrepancies. He's like, I'm happy.
I'm happy with what I got.
Got you.
That's because the opportunities are very slim. That's an example of the difference between the UK. Canada's almost the same.
Yeah.
And the US. The US, black people, I'm telling you, I've been here for 20 years. There's so much opportunity here. If you waste it, that's down to you. It's difficult at times, but you can make it. Right? You got to just change your mindset.
Let's speak about the music scene in the UK versus the music scene in the US. You guys, to me, it feels like you guys have more of a hold on what's going on, the institution, right? Like, because, like, when I think about the UK artists, they're all very respectful. Like even Central C, who's from the UK, is a street rapper. You know, he don't come off as the kind of kid which you're like, hey, watch your shit around him, right? You know, some US rappers, like they're very polite, very respectful, coming from the UK. But like, is it because you guys have more control over? Like,
I think our education experience is different.
Let's go.
Okay. Yeah, nearly everybody gets a decent education.
In the UK?
In the UK.
Okay.
The educational system there is much better than it is in the States.
Yeah.
Right? They take it very seriously. Remember, it's a smaller country. It's 5 times smaller.
Do y'all have comedians?
Yes.
Because y'all don't laugh a lot.
Yeah, they have comedians, but it's again, we have our own black culture here of black comedians that earn a living. You can, again, you know, Cat Williams.
Dave Chappelle.
By the way, Dave Chappelle is probably not the right example because he's got a mainstream audience, right? But you think about these guys who've come up with the culture.
Yeah.
Started on YouTube, started in local.
Funny Marco, Drewski, those guys.
There just aren't enough. I'm going to go back to what I told you before. There's only 3% of the country that's black in the UK, right? So there's limited opportunities.
Yeah.
So the talent is there. The level of if you're educated, you're polite, and you're normally well presented.
Yeah.
Right. No matter what your style is. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of artists in the States that come from the hood, and an American hood is a little different and a little bigger.
Yeah.
Right. There's obviously hoods in the UK. But I'm talking about the broader spectrum. There's speckles of hoods.
It's sides of town.
Yeah.
It's like the South Side is dangerous,
Yeah. So you get a bunch of rappers that are hard work, absolutely. Yeah. But they don't get big enough to really make an impression. You know what I'm saying? Like, they come and then they go.
And you guys pay a lot, like 50% or 53% in taxes, right? You guys have...
Yeah. I mean, the tax situation, I mean, it's about the same. It's about 45% luxury tax, right? But there's also... There's value-added tax. You pay tax on gas. You pay tax on household goods. There's taxes everywhere, and everything you do. You pay tax. See the congestion charge they just brought in New York? That's been in the UK for ages. You pay tax on everything you do. You know, you pay tax on your house, council tax. Like it's a small country and they're trying to generate money, and they hit you over the head for everything. So it's an expensive country. It's a difficult place to be. I understand the pressures and why people where they are. I just want us to unite a bit more because we could be so powerful.
How does that look though? Like how does us uniting look?
It would look like disturbing the peace. It would look like DTE, TDE. It would look like Young Money.
Yeah.
You know, you just groups of young black men who have strong personalities and talent who are not always right, but understand that there's an opportunity to be successful and they stick together forever. Think about, I mean, you could name Rough Riders. I could go Rock, you know, Rockefellers, a Rock Nation. Jay's with the same clique.
Still Tatas.
I don't care what anybody thinks of any individual, right? And I've worked with nearly all of them, right? What they are is talented, united, loyal black men with a vision and a drive. and they're successful. And I would love to help replicate that
In the UK.
In the UK.
Got you.
But there's years, unfortunately, of institutionalized restriction, and that mentality has got people in a bind. You know what I'm saying?
I want to ask you, so I want to get to music because you that guy. You don't play, by the way, but I have to assume that in your career you've ran into like racism, right? Where like for an artist, right? In the U.S., a lot of times we're like always like we're lost when it comes to overseas. Like such and such is big as hell overseas. It's like, what is overseas, nigga? Is that Japan? Is that you know, like what is that? Like we don't even know that. So I wanted to ask you, like, what is there a formula for U.S. artists, Black U.S. artists, to break overseas? And if so, what is the easiest way for you, like for you and your job, for you to say, oh yeah, I can do that, I want to do that, compared to like, what? Oh no, that's gonna be hell. Like I'm just curious, like it's international appeal.
Okay, so firstly, it's even harder now than it ever used to be.
Yeah.
Like I say, 20 years ago, you might have, 10 albums you might have to compete with, and everybody finds their slot. Now you've got 150,000 songs a day being released, right? So how do you find your way through that noise? The reality is this, though. There's no substitute for strategy and consistency. If you have strategy and consistency, you give yourself half a chance.
Yep.
You've got to be an artist who wants to work hard and see, firstly, this industry is not only creativity and art, but a job.
Yeah.
It's a job.
Yeah.
You're making money.
Yeah.
You've got to have a manager and a team that know what they're doing. You can't keep employing your brother, your cousin, your auntie. You wouldn't employ them to do your teeth.
No.
You wouldn't employ them to do your taxes. So why would you employ them to direct your career?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so that happens. So, I remember talking to one artist and he had the opportunity to perform one of the biggest pop music festivals in Europe. And he turned it down to walk the red carpet at BET. Now, he wasn't performing. He wasn't really accepted by the Black core community yet, but he decided that that's what he wanted to do instead.
Because he wanted to be accepted.
He wants to be accepted. He wanted that. I don't know how long it takes to walk a red carpet these days, but when I used to do it, it was like 10 minutes max, right?
Yeah.
He chose to do that. And I remember being very frustrated at the time because there was an opportunity for him to do something incredible. So that's, to me, that's thinking small, right? You got to think bigger, and it's got to be strategic, and timelined. You've got to work hard. You've got to connect in the same way that you connect here with other people in other major markets.
Well, what I was really asking about is the appeal of it all, right? Like, you started with Mariah, right? But Mariah is fair skinned, right? So I'm talking about like, so it kind of makes it easier. And you know what I'm talking about? Like in our world, what I'm speaking about is in our world, there'll be, when you get behind closed doors, they'll be honest with you, like, David, I don't know if this will work.
Yeah, but so I'm going to tell you. I hate what you're saying. So let me give you the story of my career. So after I worked with Drum Media and we created this kind of momentum, it was fantastic. But what happened was around that time, it's only a few years, but we did really well. Towards the end of the 90s, the music became mainstream. Black music became mainstream. And then I mentioned Usher and Alicia Keys and Drew Hill and all these artists that were dominating the charts, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Right? And I was offered a job as a product manager and then head of urban marketing at Sony BMG at the time because they were one of my biggest customers. Yeah. Right? And they wanted to bring the promotion and the marketing in-house. Yeah. Because it was all that was happening. Yeah, and plus, and it's exploding now. So now they're like, we need somebody now. We can't pay somebody outside. Right, exactly. So I sold my company, got a big check, and I was taken care of by a guy called Jed Doherty and Mervyn Lynn. Mervyn Lynn was a black exec who started years before as the MD of Motown in the UK, Boyz II Men, and he kept telling me about Usher, and I said, yeah, of course I know. Every time I think, of course I know about Usher. No, but we're trying to make him a superstar. Okay, cool. So I came into the label, 8701 album.
That was his breakout album, by the way.
In the UK, overseas. Yeah. Right? Before that, he had My Way, did about 180,000 units in the UK, but they really wanted to put some money behind 8701. Yeah. I was a product manager for that in the UK. That was his first ever #1 album of his career
In the UK.
in the UK.
So what
No. Anywhere in the world.
Really?
First #1 album. L.A. Reid and Usher called me the day of the release to thank me. So that was like a moment for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So that was your first moment.
I think that my first commercial moment.
Got
yes.
you.
Right. The rest
Because
was
everything else you were just kind of like feeling it out.
entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Label moment.
Yeah.
You know, I worked the Busta Rhymes project. I worked the Bad Boy project. Next, Luther Vandross. Everything on Arista. That was all my roster. And so it was a great experience at the time, and I was supported, and I was there for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But fighting against people who didn't understand the vision of black music, didn't understand how big Usher could be. I remember the regional radio guy coming to me and saying, you know, we can't get it played because they're not looking at Usher as a pop artist. They think it's black urban music. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is, remember, we're fighting through, but we got through. We had 4 top 5 singles. It was great.
Yeah.
And going back to what you mentioned before, Usher is the ultimate professional.
Yes. He is.
Ultimate professional.
He's gonna do his job.
Right, fantastic. LA behind him, KP, who you
Yep,
know
that's my bro.
was working with LA at the time. So that's how far, you know,
Yeah.
that's real people, right? So that was my network.
Yeah.
So this is what you kind of need to form success. You need all these kind of stars
Players.
to align. Right.
So you need the right. So you need the right players. What kind of music is rap big over there? Like,
Yeah, rap. Listen, so I want to kill it for everybody. It doesn't matter what genre you are, you're going to sell records, right? The consumer isn't racist, right? The consumer just wants to listen to music. They don't really care.
Yep.
Which is why you listen to Rihanna's lyrics. They're buying the music. You
Yep.
listen to what Kendrick's doing. This is what Jay-Z's doing. They don't care.
Yep.
As long as you've got charisma.
as long as you're a star.
Right. Yo, I work with Kanye, as you well know, right? One of his first big shows, it was like, in the UK, it was like 80-90% white folk, backpackers. Right? They don't care. It's entertainment and music, and they felt like he was the next up, and he
Yeah,
was.
and he was.
So it's the institutions that want to control the narrative.
The institutions being the
Whether it's the labels, the tax office, whether it's the
the
media.
whole institution. That's what I was trying to get to. Yeah.
Right, yeah, it's everybody.
It's not just music, because a lot of people like to make it feel like it's just music. It's
No,
everywhere.
bro. It's everywhere. One of my beefs with the country that I was raised in
Okay.
is the media, when they talk about America and black America, all they talk about is poverty and guns.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And they want to frighten everyone in the UK.
To be afraid of what though?
To be afraid of the black man and the American story.
Oh,
right?
you talking about? Oh, hold on.
I'm talking about the media.
Oh, no. But hold on. I just called you. Said you're saying that over there when they talk about the U.S. black people, it's guns and violence.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying on TV. Period.
You ask the average person in the UK,
That's crazy.
right? How many black universities there are in America? They'd say, are there black universities in America?
Really?
Yo, my friend. So that's one of my speeches. There's 110, right? So, yeah, so they don't know because no one talks about it. No one advocates it. They don't know who Magic Johnson is. They don't know who Bob Johnson is. They don't really know how BET was developed. They don't understand that 70-80% of the NFL and the NBA are black. They don't talk about stuff like that. They don't talk about wealth. All they talk about is negativity. And then the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Obamacare. I'm trying to help them understand that actually that's a slur.
Yeah.
Because it's called the Affordable Care Act.
Yes.
Right? It was just President Obama trying to give everybody
Affordable
healthcare.
healthcare.
And everybody decided because of, propaganda that they didn't want it.
Yeah.
We didn't want to be healthy. Because,
I already know.
Because, you know what I'm saying? So that's, you got to get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm talking about. It's institutional. And once it's institutional, it's a bit scary.
So I ain't gonna lie, that was a lot. I didn't even. By the way, we've been friends. We never talked about this. I didn't even know none of this because I wanted to save it for camera because you have so much information. But so let's talk about artists and the actual job you do.
Yes.
You are okay. So in the U.S., when we have a product manager, Your job is totally different than theirs. Like, okay, so like in the U.S. business, for people that don't know, if you're an artist, you have your A&R, your product manager. Your product manager is really the main player, right? Your A&R signs you. Your product manager runs you around and moves you
Center
around.
of the universe.
That's the center of your universe. They're gonna give you a digital marketer who's gonna report to the product manager. Radio promo guys, they gonna talk to your product manager. They don't report to nobody because they just they don't report to nobody. They big dogs. Right. But in the UK, in your position, well, not the UK, I'm sorry, in the international market, USA facing, meaning that when the artist goes out from the US to the rest of the world, like your job. What's good, everybody? This is Ray Daniels, aka the Culture Referee. And if you were wondering who this beautiful woman sitting next to me is my sister Tiffany Daniels Sai. Let's give it up for my sister. Everybody can clap. This is good. And my sister she's the most talented person in the family, and we started a family business, a signature scent company. So if you like smoke a lot of weed in your car and you want to get the scent out, you have to check out these scents. I know guys that use it for the weed. I know people that use it for cologne, and everywhere they go to get compliments. We make candles. We make
room sprays. We got them in kits. So if you want to buy something for your loved one or anybody that you care about, hit us up, LorraineCo.com.
And we're going to put the website at the bottom of it. But support this black business, support this black woman, and order, I promise you guys. As a matter of fact, use the word GAUDs and we'll give you 15% off. I just made that up, so if my sister's face looks crazy, don't get mad at her. I'll eat that. But guys, when I tell you this shit is incredible, you really should check this out.
The best scents ever.
LorraineCo.com. And we'll put it at the bottom of the screen. Thank you.
Thanks.
You do radio,
So
marketing, everything.
Yeah. So here's my job. Basically, I'm a global marketing artist development executive, right?
Okay.
So the US is the repertoire owner, right? So I'm working in the US, right? The US is a repertoire owner. And you talked about the team in the US that put the project together.
Yeah.
As I've got more and more experienced and more ingratiated with the US labels within my job, I was sometimes brought into those early meetings.
Yeah.
To help develop because then it could be one or two things. It could be that, we think this artist could be great globally, David, so we want you in it from the start. Or it could be that the artist wants to do something different and international, or I'm part of the Dog and Pony show when they've signed the act. You know what I'm saying? But it's normally the product manager who puts it together. Once they put together the strategy and the plan and the artist perspective for the project, then I come in, I understand it, and I spread that to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
People will say things like, we should do a dance remix for the international. I say, no.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
No.
International is everything not the US. People don't understand that.
Yes.
That could be Brazil.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's
No.
Yeah.
We are going to promote this artist in his or her truest form.
Yeah.
Right? People will accept it, people respect. The difference is we got to have the manager on side, we got to have the artist on side to be confident enough to go out and talk about their project and promote their project, right? And the label has to be on side to allow me to do my thing.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you want the artist to walk the red carpet. Don't tell me that, because I've got work to do.
Yeah.
So I only need 7 to 10 weeks out of the year, right? Out of 52. So that's how I present it. And everyone goes, that's not much.
So all I gotta do is spend 7 weeks overseas.
That's what. Give me my 7 weeks. I don't care what's in the way. South by Southwest. I don't care. Let me do my thing, right? You'll be able to come back around to it, and trust me, you'll be spending more time eventually. And if you look at every successful global artist, 60% of sales, Ray, comes outside the US.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the affirmative action conversation. In America, you might be happy with that 40% of sales and leave 60% on the table because you're double platinum, right?
Yeah.
So you've sold 2 million albums. If you work with me and you've done what I asked you to do, you'd have sold 2 million in the States and another 1.5 million overseas on your first project. By the time I get you to your third or fourth, you might be doing 4 million overseas and 2 million in the States.
Yeah, because that's what they don't talk about. It was funny because I remember a story. I don't know who told me or I seen on a podcast about the Migos. I think Ethiopia told a story where the Migos had some money to make, but she was like, they was trying to get them to go overseas. But what people don't understand is that if you're making money in the U.S., you're going to take less money to go further overseas. But those are seeds you're planting.
Yes, that's right.
So that you can have a career.
I work with Migos and Kevin Lyles.
Yeah.
I could name you a bunch of acts. So the artists that I work with, that I was successful with, understood the bigger picture, and I got in early enough. You know what I'm saying?
To make them see that there's 60% of your money is out there if you do the work.
Yeah.
But you gotta put the work in now.
Yeah. Billie Eilish, Mariah Carey, they sell all their albums, the majority of their albums internationally.
Yeah.
Because they work and they understand the globe. Not everybody understands it. And that's, again, I would go back to education. In America, you don't hear about international. You know, everything is US. Fox News is the biggest news outlet in the States.
When I think football, I think NFL. I don't even think soccer.
Right, that's my point. That's exactly my point. So Americans are very insular.
Yes.
Right? A lot of people I speak to have no idea where Vienna is. Don't understand it's different from Venice. Right? Don't really know where Parma is. Don't know where Istanbul is. And I'm telling you, they might have heard of it, but they don't know where it is.
Yeah.
An artist asked me when they were in London once, okay, can we get a cab to Paris? I said, no, it's in a different country. What? Right? No, and those things happen.
Yeah.
I was in a meeting once, 25 people in a boardroom, and you know a bunch of people who was in that room, by the way, Ray.
Yep.
112 were overseas, and I needed them to do some promo in the UK, and they didn't have time, and they were going to Japan to do some dates after, and someone said to me, they have a day off in Japan, they can go back into London to do the promo that day. And I looked around the room, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. Like, okay, does that work? I said, guys, Japan's in a whole different continent.
My first question is going to be, how far of a flight that is?
Right, that's my point. Yeah.
Like, that could be 10 hours.
But the point I'm making is, someone said that, an executive said that to me in a meeting, and everybody in the room turned and looked at me and said, would that solve your problem?
What you think?
So that's something that I have to work around. Right?
I want to talk about your workarounds.
Yes.
So the reason, David is a fighter. And in order to be a successful black executive, you have to be, especially international, because you're in the room saying, I need a week with that superstar in this market, and it's very important.
With my English accent.
Yes.
And they all think I'm a corny
Yes.
Brit.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But that's fine with me.
Yeah.
You know, because you're wearing whatever you wear, and I wear slim,
Yeah.
you know, European style, and it's funny. And they all think I date white girls because of my accent. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm good with all that. I'm good with all that, right? That's been my life,
Yeah.
right? But there's been a few executives who've seen through that. Jay-Z, Jay Brown, Julie Greenwald, Leo Cohen. You know what I mean? Craig Calvin. There's a bunch of them.
By the way,
on the air,
everybody who you just named are those people.
Right.
Those are the legends in the business.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you, like, because by the way, I have to do this. Shout out to Brooklyn's own legendary Davon Washington. He said if I don't say his name and put some respect on
upset.
it,
I'm
he's
here
gonna be
with
like,
that.
we gonna have
But that's my
some
brother.
problem. But Davon told me one day, he told me a stat one day, and I was like, this is like right when I first met you. He said, there's not a black artist overseas that's successful right now that's overseas winning that David didn't touch. I was like, get the fuck. He was like, so he told me name them. So I started naming. I was like, this one. He was like, oh, he's there now. You didn't know that? That's why that guy's at Atlantic. Dave works at Atlantic. Like, what? Talk about the fights you've had to have in rooms with executives to get artists to do stuff.
It's funny. I've had a lot. Look, I'm tell you something funny.
Tell me.
You had Benny Pugh on the show.
Shout out, I love Benny.
That's my guy, right?
Benny's entertaining.
Benny will tell you I drove because he had power when he was at Def Jam, right? But you know, he wasn't my boss.
Yeah.
So I walk into his office like sort of in. First of all, we walking in there. You ain't got no meeting with me. Benny's got an ego.
Yeah, Benny gonna show you. That's why when he's on the show, I said, I've never talked to you this much. I worked for you 3 years.
Benny's got an ego. But I love him because he's a winner.
Yes.
Right? And I love winners.
Me too.
So I'd go in and I'd say, Benny, I know you got this artist down for this radio show. I need him overseas or her overseas at that time. Yeah, well, sorry, David Miller. Right? And I said, oh, yeah, really? Yeah. And I'd go to Jay, I'd go to LA, I'd go to Steve Bartles, I'd go to anybody, Kevin Lyles, I'd go to anybody I can go and speak to get and explain to them. And I would win, brother.
Yeah.
I would win. Because you can have him most of the time. You can have that artist most of the time. Just give me my time.
Yeah.
That's all. And I'm going to give you results.
And plus, I'm gonna give you results forever.
But they've never. But they before I got there, they'd never seen it. So you had Ashanti and Ja Rule and DMX selling records overseas, but they never went and did any promo because they were so big and the music had such momentum. So they would sell a couple of 100,000 units around the rest of the world, and they would think that was success. When Damon Dash brought Kanye to my office, and we've all seen the documentary, right?
Yeah.
About how, you know, people at Rockefeller were like, yeah, we're gonna get to you, Kanye. We're gonna get to you. And he was feeling like he wasn't being taken seriously, right? Damon Dash was a controversial figure.
Yep.
Polarizing dude, right? But super intelligent, super smart, and he kind of saw the vision. He knew what Kanye was gonna be.
Yeah.
Right? And he brought him to my office, sat him down, just like you're sitting there, Ray. And I remember Damon saying to me, David, we can do something with this kid overseas. He wears clothes just like you Europeans, tight pants, you know, he's from Midwest, you know, Fred Perry's. That was his speech, right? I said, yeah, let's go, I'd love to. Reach out to Al Branch, reach out to G Roberson, let's get this cracking. I said, okay, so I did that. Al Branch and G were David, here's the music. Kanye was in his space, we had to fight hard to get the music, but we got it. We took him overseas. Played music for all the heads that were over there because they knew what he produced in the past and they were excited.
So they was interested in hearing what he was doing. Yep.
Right. And we started that momentum. Then he came with Slow Jams and Through the Wire, and he came overseas. Him and Don C, me, him, and he never had a big travel party. 2-3 people. Barry Security, I remember him, right? 4 people, and that's perfect, right? Because that doesn't frighten the label. They ain't got to spend a lot of money. And we did promo for first album. Million sales
And
internationally.
and that's rare for a rapper.
They'd never seen that before. Debut album, 1 million albums overseas. He did 4 million here, right? Okay, second album, late registration, 1.5 million. We did a whole launch. I think LA came to that. Radio, TV. So what I did.
And by the way, Graduation was the breakout international album because Graduation had the Stronger on it.
Right, there you go.
Yep. And by that time, because mind you, Stronger looked like he shot it in Japan. So by that time, he was ready to go. Yeah.
Right, he's gone. I've done the groundwork. You don't need me.
Yeah.
Rihanna, first 2 albums. Once you give me first 2 albums, go do your thing.
So how was Rihanna as a promo? Is it like early on? Do you have to convince her?
No.
Because let me tell you why I say that, right? A lot of people watch this and they're gonna see David Miller talking about these stars, and of course y'all had budgets, and I'm like, the most important thing is always the attitude.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to ask you, like, what was the attitude of these artists? Because we can tell when an artist works if they stay consistently what they show us in the beginning.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So these artists, Usher, Kanye, Rihanna, Neo. Let's start there, right? Because Usher was Sony BMG, and that was a highlight, right?
Yeah.
I had a bunch of other artists that I did really well with, but I was in the UK at the time. I didn't, just correct for the record, I didn't break Mariah Carey. You know what I'm saying? Tommy Mottola did that when I was a baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But her team, after...
But that was when you came in.
No.
I would say, because Tommy Mottola will get credit, but the niggas night out.
Right.
When that motherfucker Emancipation, it may be album that had LA, like...
So I'm going to tell you a story.
That's what I'm saying.
So she had the album Glitter that crashed.
Yeah, that crashed.
Right? And then she came back with Charm Bracelet, the Charm Bracelet album, and she toured off the back of that. And what that did was put her back on Front Street because people, she's so big, controversial tabloid press. Oh, she's over. She came back and killed it. Like you gotta understand.
But what was the mentality? Like, what was the mentality like? Was it like, cause this our job, we can go 24/7 because we have to.
Yeah.
Like once I'm done with this artist, it's not like I'm like, all right, see you guys next time and we'll work. It's like I got another artist tomorrow.
Right.
Or I got to go out and make sure I maintain these relationships when I do have an artist come out.
But she brought me to the States. It's because she revamped her team, fired a bunch of people, and there was basically 4 or 5 of us. Michael Richardson, who was my guy from the UK, who actually made it happen. The manager at the time, Louise McNally, right? Wonderful woman who co-signed it. And Teresa, the day-to-day girl. So it was and we had an office in Franklin Street in the city in New York. and we were the core.
Yeah.
And then, Michael being, basically a co-manager, although Louise was the point person, and being the tour executive, they put the tour together because that was how we were going to bring her back.
Yeah.
And the music was so classic on Charm Bracelet.
Yeah.
It was back to being really
old,
cool.
yeah.
It was crazy, right? Now, it wasn't really a pop hit album, but it put her back in. Yo, Ray, you got to understand something. When you work with a superstar and you spend a month, 6 weeks touring in Japan, that's when you know you're huge.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
when you do 6, 8, 9 nights at the Budokan, which is arenas in Tokyo, and then you go to Fukuoka, you go to Osaka, you go to Hiroshima, and you do arenas, and you're there for a month. I was like, that was part of my learning curve. I was like, my God, Guam, Australia, we went Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, we did the whole of Europe, we did China, we did everything. We toured the States, we toured Canada. It was phenomenal, right? And it opened my eyes to everything.
Yeah.
Right. So I was part of that learning curve, and it was a steep learning curve for me. There's a million stories I could tell you about that. That's a separate. We could do a podcast about that. So when I was here, because I'd already touched base with a few people and done some consultancy with Def Jam and worked with Jay-Z on the Hard Knock Life album, do you know what I'm saying? Like I had friends. So when I was in the States, Leo and Kevin Lyles said, "Yo, you got to come and work for us at Def Jam. What are you doing? We didn't know you were in New York." So that was my next phase after Mariah, to go to work for Kevin Lyles.
Yeah.
So my first project was Kanye. So you gotta understand how humble this kid was, how bad he wanted it, and what a good Don C was with him. G. Roberson and Al Branch were with him. Damon Dash was with him, and they could see the bigger picture.
He wanted it.
So that made it easy for me. Mm-hmm. So all I did was put him in position. So my job then is to take all the assets, all the music, all the creation, the artist, get him on board, talk him through what he needs to do, explain what the media is like in Germany, in France, protect them, sit in the room. Sometimes it goes wrong, right? Because you get journalists talking out the side of their mouth or trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
But they trust me for the for the majority of the time.
Yeah.
And once the artist stays with me and follows me and trusts me, and then I would talk to each territory beforehand, set up the promo schedule, talk to them, get the music out. No one wanted to share the music back in the day. I used to go into LA and Steve Bartels and Jay Brown say, "I need the music, man."
Yeah.
How can you expect these people to spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on this project when they don't even hear the music? What are you holding on to it for?
Yeah.
Let it go, right? Eventually we got there, and I could tell you the Jay-Z story that will come later, right? So that was it. People had never got music before from these artists.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
So what you're doing is you're actually establishing with the checklist for breaking an artist overseas. Like, bro, you can't even break overseas if we ain't got the music. I need that first.
Right.
Love that.
And then people like Kanye. And I remember Kanye after late registration, because remember, you got to understand who he is, right? You know who he is.
Yeah.
He's that creative. The promo thing ain't for him.
Yeah.
Right? But he rolled with me. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Right? And the team rolled with me. And me and the guys are talking how long we got him for. And I remember we were in London and we were in a car once. And Don C was sitting in the front and me and Kanye were sitting there. And Kanye turned to me and said, "You know, this is the last time I'm doing this, right?"
He was over it.
I burst out laughing. Don C burst out laughing. I said, "Yeah, you can go with you've done it now.
Yeah.
You've done." And
That's
right?
the whole point, though. You plant the seeds, and you ain't gotta. Now you got a
Rihanna,
fan.
different story. She was next up. So now she was 17, 18.
Okay.
Beautiful, aspiring artist from Barbados with a very heavy Bajan accent.
Yes.
Right? And she was signed to Carl and Evan, the production
Carl
company.
and Shocklin. Yeah.
Production company. And they came to me because they'd spoken to somebody and said, "David, you know, you're running international at Def Jam. You know, we want to have a meeting with Jay. We think this artist is incredible. We need you to help us because we want everyone to understand the picture." So they drove me to Bronxville, went to their studio. I met Rihanna, sat down. They played me the music, which was
Mr.
a global sound.
Upon the replay.
Upon the replay.
Okay.
Right? Which was, I can't remember the title of the album.
Songs
Music
of
of
the
the
Sun.
Sun.
Music of the Sun. Yep.
So they play me music. It's world music, right? It's not in the zone, the country zone, but cultural zone. But because she's Bayesian, and we got we got a few people involved from Toronto, and the names will come to me in a minute. I've just forgotten, but they were all part of the equation once she got signed. But before that, I sat down with her and I could see the fire in her eyes. Right? Tall, slim, with a bit of you couldn't see the attitude, but you could, being a black man, I could feel it.
You know that, yeah.
This kid. Right. So I listen. So I go in and I talk to everybody. They set up the meeting. They don't let her out the room. Yeah. Right? They sign her. She's ready to work, bruv. Right? And that's when Jay Brown, Jay-Z, myself, Tata, we really got into it. Right? And there was a guy who worked for Carl and Evan, who was the day-to-day manager. But he
Not
was
Mark Jordan.
Yeah, he was the guy.
Okay, yeah.
But he was just put in place by them.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
He weren't managing her.
Yeah.
Right? We were managing her.
Yeah.
Right? And we would go to Carl and Evan and they'd give us everything we needed.
Yeah.
Right? They were the catalyst. Mark was just the mouthpiece in between. Yeah. To the point where, and it's so crazy, this industry, I had to stand up for him and defend him for a while because people were trying to get him out. And he came to me once to ask me to help him. And then
you should have
took a shit on me later on. Do you know what I'm saying? But people do that. Yeah. When they become successful, they forget those moments. For sure. Right? So I wanted to drop that in there for the record. But basically it was us. So I'd speak to Jay, I'd speak to Jay Brown, we'd talk about remixing, we'd talk about the strategy. Tracy Waples was...
Shout out to WAP.
Yeah, Tracy Waples was running Point. Jana Fleischman was handling the press. You talk about, so me and Jana go back a long way. Her office was there, my office was here. She'd be like, David, we need hair and makeup. We can't do, and I'm like, Jana, they can't afford it. When you go across to these countries, they can't afford a makeup artist is $2,000 a day. Yeah. Then they're not going to do it. So she'd be like, well, we ain't doing it. I said, no, come on.
You got to.
So we were a great team. Yeah. Right, Jana, great team. Who was involved? There was a bunch of people. Obviously, on the Rockefeller side, which wasn't yet Rock Nation. Nah. Right. Shari Bryant was involved. Shari, that's my baby. 100%. Yeah. On a day-to-day basis. She had to check me one time. You know what I mean? When I wasn't showing her enough respect. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So but that's my sister. But you know what I'm saying? So there was a bunch of us involved, and boom. Right? But Riri worked, boy. Hey, coach flights, all different times of day. She had the Destiny Child Beyoncé work ethic. Right? I remember being on the road with Erykah Badu once in one city, and 3 days after we did an event, Destiny Child came back into London. They'd been to 3 countries.
They was working.
Everything you see Beyonce have, she worked for it. Yeah. And people didn't see that.
Yeah, but it's, and by the way, people don't understand, work is planting seeds. Yes. Work is not necessarily coming, taking over, killing it, leaving. Work is, hey, David, nice to meet you. Look, my name is such and such. I just want to drop my song off. Right. Boom, I'll see you another. And then come back a month later, you doing more work.
Ray, that's why I like talking to you. That's what it's all about. Because you got to understand, when you go to these places where there aren't a lot of black people, right? You're basically an ambassador. Yeah. And you're coming back and you're saying, hey, Tracy, how are you? Yep. Oh my God, she remembered my name. Yes. And people buy people, right? Yeah, people buy and then the guard falls down and all of a sudden you're their best friend. And that's what I did. So Rihanna was next up and she did everything. Cheap hotels, coach flights, we got to have a conversation with her one day because, I put my credit card down in her room. The per diem was never enough. You know what I'm saying? So we worked. And we worked Music of the Sun, A Girl Like Me, I think was the second album.
Yep, and then the third one was Good Girl.
And then came Umbrella, right?
Good Girl Gone Bad. That was out of there.
But by that time, I'd left and gone to Atlantic. But I needed 2 albums.
But you set the tone, though, and she knows what to do.
Done, 100%. But that was a team effort. It has to be a team. That's why I say the stars have to align, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm good at what I do, but I need my team. I'm no good without my team.
You are also known for speaking your motherfucking mind. Yeah. You're famous for that. I've heard stories of you checking executives like, what the fuck did you Look at his face.
I can't help myself.
what be pissing you off? Like, what bothered you? You're the friend that when I'm with, it's like, so David's the friend that if they didn't put my soda in the right place on the table, David's like, no, it goes there. I'm like, but David, I don't give a fuck. You don't have to. Miss, why did you put it there? It's just because my friend's black. I'm black, sir. No, I'm just fucking just like, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like, it's like you gotta.
I don't like injustice. I don't like ignorance. You know what I'm saying?
Because you don't have to talk about it unless you want to. I would love if you did, but like, I know for a fact that you actually quit a situation because a white man said something about a black man that you was like, oh, you think you're gonna talk about him like that?
Yeah.
And you quit.
Yeah.
Real nigga shit.
Yeah. It's you have to be principle based. You have to be able to sleep at night. I talk to the artists that I manage and I advise, and I tell them I look them right in the eye. You will never hear anyone say, David Miller owes me money. David Miller stole money from me. David Miller was unprofessional. David Miller made mistakes, said the wrong thing, maybe. You can, but we're all imperfect.
Yeah.
But you'll never hear anything else. But if I do some work for you, and we agreed 10 grand, and you want to come back to me and tell me that it was 7 grand, or if you did some work for me and we agreed 5 grand, you want to tell me that it's 10 grand? No, I do. I'll pay you that money, or I'll take the money you give me, because I never want to argue about money. We just never work together.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you can never speak about me, nothing.
I want to leave with my name clean.
Right,
that's more important to me than anything else.
That's my thing. So let me. So there's a lot of controversial stories I could tell you, but that'll come in my book, right? I left Def Jam in an uncomfortable situation, and I got stressed out because they promised me a new contract. They agreed it, and then they pulled it last minute. But I was lucky that Kevin Lyles and Julie and everybody had moved to Atlantic, right? And they were already offering me a job.
So you was like, okay.
Yeah, so I moved. So it was a very stressful situation. So I went over there and I was very disappointed with the way I'd been treated, because I brought so much success as part of a team to that label, and it didn't mean much.
Yeah.
Right? And by the way, Jay was president of Def Jam at the time, and he was on vacation when they pulled the rug. And he didn't know until he came back. And that's why I give big respect to Tata and Jay, because they called me when Jay got back, like, well, yo, what happened? Like, because we were close.
Yeah,
right?
He was that guy.
Remember, 98, I worked with Jay in Europe, international, Hard Knock Live. That's when I first met him.
Yeah.
It's a funny story. I don't know if anyone knows that Jay's never late.
No, you told me a story about Jay-Z running to the plane, or Rihanna, or somebody runs to the plane. You was like, Jay is always on time. He does not play about time.
That's another story.
Yeah.
So one time, the first time I worked with Jay, we were in Europe, and I remember, say, 10 o'clock call time, right? So I've come downstairs, 9:45. I'm like, oh, damn, let me just run up to my room. Let me go and get blah, blah, blah.
I got 15 minutes.
I got time.
Yeah.
So I run upstairs, I do something else.
Yeah.
I come back down, 10:05, and Jay is standing by the car outside the hotel. So now I'm like, oh, damn.
Because that's not normal in our business. The artist is always late.
Right.
Yeah.
No, this is like 5 minutes past 10. And Jay's so slick, he looks back at me. I think he waited for me to come out.
Yeah.
He looks back at me and opens the car door and gets in. Right? So Tata says to me, yo, this nigga's never late, brother. He looked me right in the eye.
Never.
David, don't do that again. That was the last time, right? So that's a funny story. That was on my first experience.
Yeah.
And wonderful experience, I've got to tell you. No one can tell me nothing about Jay-Z, right? No one can tell me nothing. So moving forward, I've worked 3 massive projects at Def Jam in 4 years.
Yeah.
Global, smashed it.
Yeah.
Including Ludacris. I forgot Ludacris in the middle of that.
Yeah.
So me and Disturbing the Peace, me and Jeff and Shaka, family.
Yeah.
Because we just love each other. And by the way, they're hard to deal with, brother.
Oh, Jeff,
Oh my
don't
God.
play.
Oh, right? But he would tell you, he loves me, I love him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We had some arguments.
Oh
bro.
no, trust me. Listen, Jeff is the king.
Yo.
And by the way, he'll make you see some shit you didn't even see.
Right.
Like
right.
you did that for your daughter though, right?
Yeah, right. That's
Hold
Jeff.
on. I heard that you didn't you do a party for your daughter?
Yeah.
And you mean tell me you didn't do this for Ludacris? He's like, yo, nigga,
Yeah.
that's Jeff.
That's
Jeff is gonna push you. Yeah.
So Ludacris was one. We had a fantastic time. Red Light District album. By the way, Benny Pugh was very instrumental in putting that together, right? Meetings-wise, he could tell you an amazing story about the politics in the building, and we made it happen. Benny Pugh 100% supported me during that run. So there was those 4 artists in 4 years. Then I'll go to Atlantic, and Leo says to me, and Julie says, okay, we got here because we've got the former CEO of Bad Boy that's going to be on our roster. And I'm like, why? He said, because he's going to bring a lot of attention, David. And
Puff.
Right, there you go. And I'd already worked years with him.
Yep.
That's another story.
I'm about to go. As soon as you know this, I'm going there. I want to go there.
So I go in, and my first project's Lupe Fiasco. The second one's Trey Songz. The third one's Flo Rida. The first two don't really understand, don't really get it, or that they do a little bit. Flo Rida gets it.
That's why Flo Rida gets all that money overseas.
Flo Rida gets it. And that dude followed me around the world. If I told that dude to sit in the corner, don't move, right? And that's why he's one of the biggest.
And that's what I say.
In the
And
world.
shout out to Freezy. And shout out to E-Class, because Flo Rida was the biggest star. He could have been a bigger star if he let people know how big he was.
Yes.
It's kind of like he kind of liked being like low key, getting
he didn't get the respect that he was supposed to because he did this kind of
commercial
rap,
music,
commercial rap, right? But he's a proper black dude, and Freezy.
He a real nigga.
He's a real nigga,
They're real
right?
niggas.
And Freezy, again, difficult to deal with. E-Class, I got on well. It was easier to deal with. I had a relationship with him through Davon.
Yeah.
Because Davon did Port of Miami with Rick Ross. You know what I'm saying? So I used that relationship. So we were kind of cool. Freezy was hard work, but understand, he was fighting for respect and for shit to be done the right way.
Yeah,
right?
because a lot of times we say people difficult. The reality is that the difficulty comes from them seeing superstar treatment and realizing they're not getting it. And the difficult part is like, nigga, you ain't got a superstar yet.
Yeah.
But it's like, you still got to do that. So go ahead.
So the difficulty with him is, well, he sold singles and not albums, right? And so, we worked as a team. And I went to Julie once, and this is why my relationship with Julie Greenwell is an important
I want to
factor.
meet, by the way, I always wanted to meet her because I just love Julie.
I can do that. I told you before.
Yeah.
Right? I went to Julie, I said, Julie, this guy's 6'4". I know he hasn't sold many albums, but we can't keep putting him in coach.
Who is this?
I spoke to Julie, Flo Rida.
Oh, Flo Rida 6'4"? I didn't know he's that tall.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's bothered, but I never realized he's that tall.
Dude.
Yeah,
okay. 6'3", 6'4".
Okay.
Right? So I said, we can't keep putting, and Julie looked at me and said, no problem. And I think Freezy and them, why ain't he in first class? Like, because you're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, just put such T.I.'s in first class. Like, that's the difficulty. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but T.I. selling albums.
He sold 8 million albums.
Right.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what it was going to be, right? So Mike Karen was part of that, obviously. Create the hits, working with E-Class. So anyway, it doesn't matter. The fact what is, in the middle of all this, Flo Rida did everything he was supposed to do, and he worked. If I asked, I said, Flo, I need you to go to Japan tomorrow. Then we need to leave there, go to Australia, and we need to leave there and go to Mexico, and then we come back. We're going to be tired, but we're going to go. No problem, Dave. I'm ready. Boom.
I'm done.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
And so he earned every penny he's got in his bank account. That boy. And by the way, he didn't get the credit or the respect from the street for a long time.
I'm glad that Fat Joe clip came out where Fat Joe was like, I ain't never got over 100. And this nigga Flo was like, they ain't paying me 400, I ain't coming.
Right, and he's real.
That's an afford.
Yes.
That's something that I can afford.
Yes.
People don't know that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So you came up under, you've worked with two of the most legendary, powerful men in hip hop. I want to ask you, what's the difference in the executive way they move between Jay and Puff that you see?
I'm going to tell you.
Because a lot of the world sees them as the same, right? And then that's why when that...
But they're not the same.
But they're not. That's why I'm asking.
No, social media is pitching them as the same.
Because they're black billionaires from hip-hop.
Yeah. Americans, right? And social media, we're sometimes our own worst enemy because we're the ones who drive it, right? We're the ones hungry for the gossip and the conversation. And then everyone around us is looking at it and absorbing it and saying, well, wow, if his own people are promoting it, it must be true, right? Let me explain to you, because I know them both very well, and I'm qualified enough without getting myself...
Nobody's more qualified to talk about it than you.
Right. Sean Puffy Combs, I call him Puff still, right?
Me too.
Is a gifted, organic genius,
Okay.
right? I fought with him for years and his team, Half Pierre, to try and do everything that I did for Rihanna and Kanye.
Yeah.
I tried to get him to do that with it. And ego, self-servitude. Do you know what I'm saying? It was all about what I want to do right now.
Yeah.
There was no strategy. There was no...
God complex?
Absolutely that.
Okay.
Was Jay, he's a humble guy with a huge ego.
Yeah.
Right? Because that comes with being the artist and a huge vision that he didn't want to tell everybody about. He just wanted to be about it.
Yeah.
Right? So he ain't really putting himself out there. He moved very neatly and silently. He let his music and his albums do the talking, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Right? He didn't put himself on Front Street, whereas Puff did the white parties. So both were needed, don't get me wrong, for the culture. That one felt like it was going out of control, and the other one was reserved and classy and totally in control. Right? And the two never... The only time they met was at award shows or at the Rock Nation brunch. Do you know what I'm saying?
Taking pictures, yeah.
And taking pictures,
Yeah.
right? And Jay lived a different life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I always say I think the biggest difference between Jay and Puff is, and by the way, I love Puff, I love Jay, I'm cool, but the reality is that one had a wife.
There you go,
Bro, a wife will keep you in line and flying
But
straight.
before that, Ray, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
One's got one has a sensible, strategic vision. Before he had a wife, he knew that was going to be his wife. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
He knew he wanted to live that life.
Yes.
He knew he wanted to
and he
get
wasn't,
married.
and he was gonna be disciplined enough. By the way, the biggest compliment you can give Jay, outside of his talent and how smart he is the most disciplined rapper, probably
Right.
artist that we know.
Right.
He ain't gonna talk about it. You don't know what he's thinking. I heard a rumor. You could probably tell me this true. I heard a rumor about Jay that when he first started at Def Jam, obviously it was him and Dame breaking up, and LA wanted Jay to come be the president, and of course Jay is like, well, if I'm coming, I want to bring, because Jay Brown was already working there, I want to bring Tata. And LA was like, nah, no homeboy stuff over here. Like, come over here and get the job. So that's why if you look at all the early Jay-Z, all the early albums when Jay-Z was the president of Def Jams, the A&R was always the Carter administration. Because he was paying Tata and them out his pocket.
That's Jay though.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is or what, but it doesn't matter. They were all working together.
Yeah.
And he shared the wealth with his guys.
Yeah.
There's Lenny S. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of people that he takes care of.
Yeah.
Now, people ask me all the time, oh, you and Jay friends? No. We're really good acquaintances.
Yeah.
We're really good professional businessmen, right?
Yep.
And he's on a whole different level. He's got his inner circle that he rolls with and he's cool with and he feels comfortable with. I think I'm on the periphery of that. Do you know what I'm saying? But I live a different life too. Do you know what I'm saying? I tell my kids.
And you're your own man, by the way.
Right.
You
I
want to
tell
move your
my
own.
kids, if Jay says to me, hey, I've got dinner tonight, come to the dinner, which has happened a million times, and my kids have got a recital, or I haven't seen my kids, or I've just got back from somewhere, I ain't going. And I think Jay knows that. And I think Puff also knows that. The problem is that Puff had an issue with that. Does that make sense?
No, for sure. He wants you with him. Jay,
Right.
but usually that comes from understanding I got a family.
Right.
Like, I don't want to work with people that don't have families because they'll never understand the importance of how.
No, I want you to do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And Jay ain't like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no worry. I'll catch you.
Yeah.
Might be 6 months to the next one, but you know what I'm saying?
Hopefully.
Like, it doesn't matter. We're so cool. Listen, I'll give you an example. I'm going to tell you something really funny. This
Okay.
is another good story. So Jay has his career, and I'm on him for years. Remember, 98, I first started working with him. Bro.
Yeah.
Jay, I need you to do promo. Jay, I need you to do this. Jay, and he's looking at me like, nigga, if you don't shut your mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, I know, I wanted to take advantage of the opportunities that keep coming. So, but every now and again, I'm rolling with him. We go overseas, we do our thing, and that's great. But
Yeah.
I really want you to do this. But he had another vision. So we get to Blueprint 3. Now you got to remember, I leave Def Jam 2006 and I go to work for Atlantic.
Yeah.
Atlantic is dead, brother.
Yeah,
But
Atlantic.
is
The
dead.
Def Jam team comes over there to bring it back to life.
Leo, load of us.
Julie, Kevin, yeah.
Yeah, load of us, whole team, right? Head of press,
Kaiser, everybody.
everyone, right? I was the last one really to go, so I'll get there. We got these artists that we're working with. They pick out the ones. Flo Rida's one of them. He goes, he starts to take off. We do a bunch of stuff in between. B.O.B. You know what I'm saying? We've got a bunch of stuff. Jay comes. Oh, Jay quits his job. Remember,
he quit Def Jam.
He quit Def Jam.
Bought his album.
2007.
Bought his album, brought it over to Atlantic.
Paid him off and brings it to Atlantic. So you know I'm feeling fantastic.
And
right
that, by
now.
the way, his first #1 hit he ever had in his life.
For single, right?
Single, number one hit. That's why I say hit. Yeah.
So I'm feeling fantastic. So I sit down with him, Julie, Jana, Craig. You know what I'm saying? And Jay, we're sitting in the room, and okay, we want to roll this album out properly. And I know why he wants to roll this album out. He's married to Beyoncé now. Beyoncé's doing stuff in all parts of the world, and he's seen a different way, and he's ready now.
It's like my wife is a bigger global superstar than me.
Right.
I might be a businessman, but she's global. Yeah.
Right.
Because I heard in certain places overseas, he's considered Beyonce's husband, not Jay-Z.
100%. Right. So now he says, right, I really want to do this right. I got an album, Empire State of Mind, Run This Town. I got this music, and it can boom, it can go worldwide. What do I need to do? I said, I need your album 3 months before release date.
How did that go over? I'm like, what?
See that reaction?
Yeah.
That was John Manili, the manager.
Yeah, I'm the manager. I laugh. I'm like, what?
Right? And Jay never flinched. Let me tell you, never flinched. Just looked at me. And I said, yep, so we got, and Julie's in the room with me.
Yeah.
Right? So I got my...
got your champion.
I got my, right? Julie ain't playing. This is my guy. Jay knew me already, you know what I mean? But again, remember, corny English guy.
Yeah. What the fuck do you know? Yeah.
So we had that kind of relationship, right? So I said, Jay, this is what I need. I need you to play music ahead of time, this, that. So he texts me 2 weeks later. On his own, I got the album for you. That's all he texted me. So I knew it. I did.
Yeah.
So we rolled it out. It's his biggest album
to this day. Yeah.
International album ever.
For sure.
Right? He did promo. We did long lead. Some of the interviews went pear-shaped. A few of the journalists wanted to had a little beef with Matthew Knowles and Beyoncé and switched the stories around. But Jay didn't care because he understood the bigger picture and he understood the politics. He don't sweat stuff like that. And nor does Julie.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting journey. He toured. It was fantastic.
I heard that. So I just found this out today from legendary Brooklyn man, Davon. I'm gonna say his name with respect. Biggie was supposed to... You were waiting in London for him, and he didn't get on the plane?
So this is a gem.
Okay.
And this is the first time I'm speaking publicly about this. My friend...
Nigga, you've been my friend for how many years? I didn't notice until a few minutes ago.
Because of something didn't come up.
Yeah.
So this is something that's going to be the keynote to the book.
Okay.
Right? So I'm in the UK whenever it was, when Biggie... And I was working for... Drum Media and Express Holdings. Yeah. So I'm like an intern.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm a kid. But because I'm the most entrepreneurial in the mix. Mm-hmm. I'm the kind of the driving force behind it. There's people that are older than me, more responsible than me. But I kind of put it all together. I had all the ideas. So I was a bit ahead of my time. So Biggie had been into London with Cheryl Flowers and a bunch of... Who's that other guy that works with G and
Gene?
Gene Nelson. Gene Nelson.
My nigga. Love Gene.
Cheryl Flowers. Who used to manage Lil' Kim?
Hillary
Weston. They're all my people. They all came in with Biggie and Craig Mack. So that was an interesting scenario. That's when I first met Puff.
Okay.
No one knew who he was. Dark glasses. And this dude was sucking up every piece of oxygen everywhere. He was watching everything.
Puff was?
Yeah. No one knew who he was, right? It was all about those two. And I could see him and he would ask me a million questions. David, what's this? David, what's that? So that's where it kind of, the relationship started. Okay. So this is the second time now Big's supposed to come back.
Yep.
Flights, cars, I actually did an event. Remember Lennox Lewis, the boxer?
Of course. From the UK.
I did an event at, what's a prestigious race course here?
Atlanta
Churchill
Speedway?
Downs.
Churchill
Churchill
Downs. Here in Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah, in America. No, sorry.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Churchill Downs. Like, there's a place called Ascot in the UK, just outside London. Prestigious. We did an after party, huge, 1,000 people for Lennox Lewis.
Yeah.
The night before. I've rolled out of that event, gone straight to the airport, waiting, all the cars lined up for Christopher Wallace.
And he didn't get on the plane.
The label, everybody had put the schedule in place. The UK, Mervyn Lynn, I spoke to you about, he was my mentor.
Yeah.
He was the one who was in charge of everything. I was working independently, right? We're all at the airport, and someone called me and said, the news just hit MTV, Biggie died. Puffy took him to LA.
So I came to business with D-Dot, and D-Dot, one of the first stories he told me, he was like, man, everybody always says, if Big just would have went to London, he'll be here. Everybody says that.
True story.
And you was
I was at the airport.
on the ground waiting.
At the airport. So the D-Dot said the absolute truth. So I'm not the first one to talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He knows. So that's the story. And he took him to LA, to the Vibe Party. And that was curtains. And you know, apart from Jay-Z, he, to me, he's the greatest rapper ever.
Yeah. Biggie,
I mean,
I think he's the most gifted rapper to ever live.
I get confused when I listen to Illmatic sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
We got Queens in the building.
My brother, come on now. You put that, like, I don't know when the last time you played it, but let me plug Illmatic right now. Sometimes I put that on and I'm like, Lord,
what the hell is
mercy.
going on? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, it's
I love that. I love that.
So that's a bit of the story. So yeah, so that's the story. So he comes to, and then the rest is history.
I heard you, one more other thing. He said, ask him about the time when Beyonce and Jay-Z knocked on his window.
Oh.
I was like, what happened? He said, ask him.
Oh, right. So again, there's lots of little anecdotes. I think I was working with Bruno Mars on this occasion. And there was an event that Beyonce was performing at, and Bruno was performing too. Like, must have been, wasn't a jingle ball or something like that, some charity thing. Like, we did so much stuff, and so we're all coming out of the I don't know if it's rehearsal or what. We're coming out of the venue, you know, backstage, right?
Yeah.
So we come out the back. The cars are parked up on the window. So everyone took. Now there must have been 15, 20 people out there. The label, this, that, right? Tap, 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 one of it. And we could hear it like as we walked past. And the door slid open. It's Jay-Z and Beyonce sitting in the car, right? In the people carrier, in the SUV. And I don't know who said it first. I don't know if Beyonce. Like, hey, David, what's up? So now I've got another story for you. That's an even better one. So everybody stopped backstage and looking. What?
Beyonce knows you like.
Right? So Jay says, yo, what's up? I said, I didn't even know you were here. You know, like to Jay. He said, yeah. He looked at me like as if to say, what do you expect? It's my wife. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's how Jay used to look at me like, you dumbass.
I'm going with my wife, nigga.
Yeah. So, and B's talking to me, oh, how's your girls? I'm good, B. How's yours? How's Blue Ivy? How's your family? This, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm feeling really uncomfortable because the whole backstage is watching.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You just want the eyes off you.
Yeah.
Can you stop talking to me now? We'll talk later. Yeah.
And then Jay says something like, oh, we're having dinner. You know what I'm saying? I said, yeah. Bye, Jay. And he shuts the door.
Yeah.
So the second time this happened, was crazy, was at an MTV Awards in Europe. And Beyonce was the main attraction, the headliner, right? And so I was with Estelle, right?
American Boy.
So Leo was there, and I don't know what the vibe was at the time, but everyone was backstage. Executives, European MTV Awards, everyone's backstage. Anyway, they cleared the backstage. Beyonce's coming through to rehearse. So I move out of the way. You know what I mean? So I move out of the way. I'm standing by and so I think it was definitely Beyonce's security guy. Yeah. The guy that always moves with her all the time, right? As he's walking past, he just looks down the side and sees me, right? And he says something to me I didn't even see. Oh, it's David Miller. she stops and turns around. Hey, David, what's up? And again, yo,
All eyes on me.
but that's why I love them both.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't know whether I don't know. Listen, not many people get to spend time in her company, right? She's truly the queen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. You'll never meet a nicer person. Like, when she's on stage, she becomes this person.
Yeah.
Right? It really is chalk and cheese. When she's off stage, she's like wife, mother, friend.
Yeah.
So humble, so respectful, overly so. You know what I'm saying? And I think that must be, people keep telling me that's that southern.
I always say she's from the South. She's
Yeah.
from Houston. That's that Texas.
Ray, it's phenomenal. So yeah, I've had some moments like that.
Yeah, I heard that she don't let people take Jay plate. Like if they at like a place she serves her husband. No.
I won't be surprised.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy. So yeah, I've had a lot of those moments, and they've been.
I want to ask you a couple questions, man. You are, to me, I can't understand why you're not running a label. Like I don't know a more qualified man that should be at the top of the food chain at a label, especially in today's times, where, David, we need you to work overseas, and we don't even got to work as hard now because we don't have to ship over there. We don't have to print. Once we upload it in the U.S., it's there. So it almost becomes like house money.
I'm going to justify everything you said.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier, talking about the streaming platforms. One of the reasons why these streaming platforms are making so much money is because the brands are now global. When you put something up online, everyone can see it everywhere around the world. So you're talking about a whole different. That's why the NBA deal was 70-odd billion.
Yeah.
Like, you never see numbers like that.
The last deal 10 years ago was $7 billion.
Right.
Well, $12 billion, and they won. It's like $85 billion.
Right. The first ESPN Formula One deal was $5 million. The second deal was $100 million. Right? Because everyone understood the benefits of this global brand.
Yeah.
Right? There's 7 billion people on this earth, and you want to sell 800,000 records? Come on, man! It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So here's where I'm gonna end up, because I'm gonna answer your question. I'm too outspoken. In every corporation, there's politics, right? And love Julie to death.
Yeah.
My girl, and she was upset when I left Atlantic. I know, she didn't speak to me for 6 months, right? She was always worried about what I was going to say next.
Why?
Because corporations are...
Oh, in the building. I
Yeah.
thought she was wondering what you were going to say left when you left.
No. Corporations are political hubs.
But you know, I want to ask you, so we both worked at corporations. The thing that I don't understand is that, listen, y'all, this is the only business where we're selling toxic shit.
Yeah.
Fuck the police.
Yeah.
Like kill niggas like this. But we want the people that sign it to be professional.
Right, but no. So you can jump off that, because we can leave that in one corner.
Yeah.
We can come back to cultural shit, which is Kendrick, Summer Walker, and Money Love, and you know, that's our culture, right? There's cultural artists that sit in the middle of what we do. Nas, Mos Def, you know, that generation, the neo soul kind of Erykah Badu, like. Let's forget the drama, right? Let's think about the culture. That sits in the middle. Shouldn't they get what they deserve? If you're supposed to sell 70,000 albums, you should sell 70,000, not 10,000, right? And then the numbers can go from there, right? And I think there's an agenda within the industry. I think there's an agenda with anywhere there's politics where, no, we want you to get out of the way so we can sell this, because we want to promote this.
Yes, they want they need the educated. To me, my theory is they want the educated black man out the room, because if you're a black man from the hood and you walk into an office and these people are trying to talk to you about big business, you're not going to go to that little white woman in the corner to build. Right. You're going to go to the black man who looks like you. You're going to give him the dap you do and just hope that he can build with you. And
also going to help to become successful.
Yes.
Because I speak his language.
Yes.
And going back to everything we talked about, part of the reason that I'm been successful with the artists I've been successful with is because I've been able to translate who they are and what they should be to the rest of the world, which don't look like us.
So, I just gotta ask you this. I'm testing you right now,
Right.
so it's putting you on blast. I know you can answer it. Okay, so I know for a fact that Japan, R&B music is huge over there,
Yeah.
right? So if you want to be an R&B artist and you want to, like, we dropped the album in Japan of demos and sold like 50,000 copies.
Right.
Like they buy physical, so I understand that.
Yeah.
But what kind of music do these other markets want? Like, is it like specific? It's like, okay, you're a rap artist. We don't have to go to South America because they don't like rap at all.
Right.
Like, are there places that are like, this is for this place or that's for that place, or is it?
Yeah, no. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Every piece of music can sell everywhere, right?
Yeah, you did say that. Yep.
The difference is the artist profile, the label, and the money spent behind the project, how consistent you are, how good the music is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is why I said, if you're meant to sell 70,000 albums, you sell 70,000. That's not going to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
There's artists that we know that sell 7 million. But the guys who sell 70,000, why shouldn't they sell that 70,000? That might be their ceiling.
Yeah.
Maybe because their product isn't transferable enough, isn't good enough. But they should at least maximize their potential, right? And so maybe I'm a charity case.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too cultural. Maybe I'm too embracing.
Woke.
Maybe I'm too woke.
Yeah.
But politics and corporations are not that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I sleep at night and I'm not bothered is because I understand that. But I don't want to be part of that. Which I work for these corporations. I would tell you, Ray, because I wanted to get out of the UK and I wanted to be able to feed my family and put my kids through university. I didn't want to have to take a chance and rely on someone else to determine my future.
Of course.
Right? Coming to America, you can determine your own future. Black people, I'm telling you, you can determine. Don't feel like the rest of the world, there's nowhere else in the world you can do it. Far from America.
Like,
Trust me.
There's nowhere else in the world you can do what?
Go from poverty to becoming Magic Johnson. On a consistent level. I'm not talking about one-off. Everyone can talk, but that person, no. What about the person behind him?
Yeah.
The person behind that. In America, if you work hard enough, you can be everything you want to be. Around the rest of the world, only one gets to do it. Then another 5 years comes and another gets to do it. They won't let anybody else through. And that's the reality.
So
Right, I just told you there's been no UK global superstar.
Yeah.
Name me a black superstar from another country. That should tell you everything. That should tell you everything.
The first one popped in my head was Rihanna, but that's you. I thought,
But she's from here.
No, she's another country. She's from Barbados. That's what I was thinking.
But she started her career here.
Yeah, okay,
That's
I
what
see
I'm
what you're
saying.
saying.
Tell me a black artist to come from France. I know there's a language barrier anyway when you get to Germany and France and those other countries. But just the UK. Craig David was the nearest.
Craig David, I was about to go there. I was about to go Estelle, but they didn't get a chance to become
Estelle
global.
was one single.
Yeah.
Right? Craig David was one album.
Okay.
And then the white executives got their hands on it and completely, what's your flavor? What's your flavor? Like some terrible shit. And everybody was like, what the hell is that? You went from 7 days to that?
Yeah.
Right?
That's crazy.
So I'll give you another.
Go ahead.
Now we're talking about
Go
Craig David. Let's go in it. So you know that when they put the record out in America, they had to change all the women in the video because he had all white girls in his video in the UK. And when they came to Atlanta, the executives in the US were like, what? What is this? Oh no, we got to reshoot these videos and put black women in here. Do you know what I'm saying? So my point is, who's the person in the UK who said, oh, we're going to put those 7 white girls in this black man's video? Who said that?
The institution.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
The institution. Right? Now I got it.
Right.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah. Now that's how you bring it all the way home.
I'm in a
The
meeting.
institution.
I got loads for you. They're all coming to me.
Yep.
I'm in a meeting. I'm working the Busta Rhymes project. Pharrell is one of the producers. The single Pastor Gavossier. Remember that?
Yeah, of course.
With the video.
Yeah.
And what's the comedian?
Pharrell.
The female comedian.
Monique. Shot in the foot.
Monique's in the video.
Yep.
So this is crazy. This story is crazy. It's very important I tell you the story. So I'm in a meeting. Remember I'm doing Usher. I'm working all these projects. I'm in the UK.
Yep.
Simon Cowell was in my building. Simon Cowell's office was there. My office was here. right? I learned so much from that dude. He's the only one who could smoke in the building. He had pockets like you never seen, right? He had an ego, but a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Such a lovely fella.
Yeah.
So we're in a meeting, a label meeting, and one of the video promotion people who didn't like the fact that I was getting props because of the Usher campaign, how well it was doing, and LA calling me and Usher calling me and everyone, and the guy sending a note around the company, David Miller has a #1 album, but celebrating. She says in the meeting, no, we can't get this video played anywhere in the UK. I don't know if you remember the video, it's fantastic. Our boy Puff's in it, by the way.
Yeah.
Right?
Harlem Nights.
Right, yeah. Rolling. Right.
Yep.
So there's a bit in it, a skit in it. I hope I've got the right video where Monique steps on Buster's toe.
Yes. That's all I seen. Yep.
Right. Steps on his toe. She says none of the outlets in the country will play the video because it's violent. No, Ray.
Because he stepped on the toe.
Ray, listen to me good. Right. So this is why I'm in the position I'm in. Because these things come up in Germany, in France, in Italy, Australia, people with a different agenda.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the seat saying, stop your nonsense.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas someone else who doesn't understand the rest of the world, who perhaps doesn't look like us, who works in the international department, who doesn't travel, who's, only got a passport because they look good, look cute, and they got employed by the company and they couldn't put them anywhere else, so they put them in international. And they just travel around and they make new friends in Paris and they have dinner and hang out with the people at the label. They're not interested in our culture. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
I make shit happen, right? So I'm in the room and I said, what? But that's crazy. Simon Cowell says, I don't know if you remember the group we had, Westlife?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know the group he had, but I know.
Oh, he had a group called Westlife.
Okay.
That were huge. They were like the Boys to Men of the UK.
Yeah.
Right? Huge.
Yeah.
Right? He says, hold on a minute. Didn't we just get full rotation on a Westlife video where they were fighting each other, punching each other in the face in a church? The whole room goes dead quiet.
I love those moments in the label meeting.
Dead quiet. How do we get... And then the MD says... Then he turns around to the promo girl and says, yeah, how did you get that on full rotation and you can't get... Because the MD was an Irishman.
Yeah.
Black wife.
Yeah.
Right? He employed Mervyn Lynn, the guy I told you, my mentor, employed me. Right. How did I remember Simon Cowell used to date a black woman.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. This guy's he sees no color. One of his first girlfriends, one of his famous partners, because she was a singer, was a girl he dated. He didn't care. He don't see color.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. And the room went quiet. And she went all colors, white, red, this, that. And she was head of promo. The video was in full rotation within a week.
I wish people could By the way, this is why it is important to have the right people in the room at these labels.
Right.
Because if you don't, that doesn't happen.
Right.
And I have so many stories where I've been in a room and I'm like, what the fuck is...
Yeah.
Y'all don't know?
So Julie and people like Julie and Leo are here representing us and they would have the same conversations.
Yeah.
Those kind of characters and personalities are not replicated in many places overseas. One of the reasons why Lucian Grange is here is because he's that guy.
Now you just segue to what I want to know. Sony, Rob Stringer.
Yeah.
Universal, Lucian Grange.
Yeah.
And Robert at Warner.
Kingsley.
Kingsley. I don't know how to say his last name. Kinsel or something like that.
Kinsel. That's it.
He's from...
Oh, you forgot Pete.
And I was going to say Matsusada. At one point in time, all three of the major labels were ran by UK executives.
Yes.
Why don't they think... What is it about UK executives versus US executives where they're, in power, like fully?
Yeah.
Over here.
I think it goes back to what I mentioned before. There's a level of global understanding, education, and awareness that international executives have that US executives don't.
Which means, tell me what, explain.
So my point is, if if I went to the average American and asked them about what was going on in the rest of the world, or how many countries there are, or, you know, where's Turkey on the map, or, you know, where's Luxembourg?
Yeah.
You know, do you know anything about the Middle East outside of Dubai? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know that St. Petersburg was called Leningrad before? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the average American's not going to know.
Yeah, but how does that translate for music?
Oh, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Because you've got to sell music in all those markets. And they're head of the world. So they're talking to these people around the world, and they need to communicate with them. You know, remember, Sony's board is Japanese.
Yes.
Stringer's brother used to be on the board, as you put. I don't know if you know that. Alex, right? You've got to have those conversations, and there are some executives that can have those conversations. By the way, there's some American executives who don't want to have those conversations. They're not interested in international.
Do you think it has some? Because as you're talking about it, I'm like, do you think race plays a role in it? And I'm sorry
No.
I say that because here's why I think it does. Because you literally just spoke. And you're a woke black man, admittedly. You just spoke about Simon Cowell.
Right.
Great guy, right? Like that. Like, I've never heard a black man in the U.S. talk about a white executive like that.
Right.
Like, great guy. Like you know what I'm trying to say? So for me, you said he doesn't see color. That's your exact word. So for me, is it Lucian, is it America is really racist? And they like, you know, let's just bring somebody that he don't see color, or like, do you think that has something to do with it?
No, I think what I'm talking about as far as the British executives is that they understand the globe, and they're well educated, not just academically, but
Culturally,
socially, not necessarily culturally, because when we talk about culture, we're supposed to be included in that.
Yes.
Our culture doesn't really.
You the bad nigga. That's the way you brought that home just now.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. Culturally. None of these people are being judged on their understanding of black culture. Not one of them. It's not. But by the way, the UK just announced that they've made record amount of money from music sales, 2.5 billion in 2024. Right? They haven't reached that number since I think 2001.
But then Sync was selling 2.5 million records first week.
Do you know the reel they ran behind it when they were talking about it on the global BBC News?
What?
Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, Dua Lipa, Charlie XCX. Not one black artist. Not one black artist was in that reel. Right? That's the way they want it.
Yeah.
Right? Everything we do, think about our artists, the artists they're all signed to independent companies.
Everybody.
TDE, look what he's, I don't even know the guy, right? And I respect him from a distance. Look what he's doing. The deal he's done with Scissor's album, like this guy's on and by the way, let's not talk about the modern day. Let's talk about what Murder Inc. did. Let's talk about what Disturbing the Peace did. Let's Young Money did. Let's talk about, you know, what QC did, right? And there's a bunch of others. Kedar Massenberg, what he was trying to create
a
back in
neo
the day.
soul genre.
Oh, hold on. Did we just forget L.A. Reid and Arista? Right? So all these factors, you got to think about that roster that he built. Come on, man. How many diamond acts did he have?
5.
Who the hell can touch that?
5 and he all met at talent show level.
Right, there you go. And
like that
developed them.
came in. What I mean by that, for people at home to understand, meaning Usher didn't have a buzz, Pink didn't have a buzz, Tony Braxton have a buzz. They all auditioned.
And then he did it all over again when he came into the building with Avril Lavigne and you know what I'm saying? And what he was doing with Rob Stevenson and everything that was on the island side with The Rock, Hoobastank and the Killers and you know what I'm saying? So we can do it. There's also a guy that I need to give a shout out to called his name's gonna come to me in a minute because I'm terrible with names, right? Lincoln Elias. His name is Lincoln Elias.
Okay.
So he is a black man who in the late 80s and 90s signed a roster of acts that was incredible. And no black man's been given the flexibility to do the same thing again. Right? He had acts, Jamiroquai, Terence Trent D'Arby, a female artist called Desiree, Roachford, and a group called Pasadena's and a bunch of other acts. But all these acts were on fire. He's a black man, but they gave him a label to run and he was incredible. And you would have thought that as a result of this global world music talent they had, because it wasn't just urban, Jamiroquai is white, but the rest of them are black, right? You would think that having recognized and seen the benefits of having someone like that in a position, someone else would be given the same opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's had that opportunity before. And if people were given that opportunity, it's because it was a kind of nepotism act, like, oh, you're friends with, or you roll with these white acts, with white executives, but you're not the right person.
The Ice Spice and the Taylor Swift booth at the Super Bowl. Shit.
Right, there you go.
You can't bring your friends in here, but you can come.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's not what's going to promote and progress our culture. So going back to the executives, they're brilliant executives. I know Max, I know Lucian, I've known them for years and years, and they're brilliant individuals. I just wish that we had the opportunity to come
To
through
show our brilliance.
and do this and show our brilliance. Yes.
Because I was going to say, what do you think about, like, so you are my OG, and you worked with Craig and Julie.
10 years.
Yes. And now Craig is being replaced by Lucian's son. I feel like they're playing in our face. Because it goes back to what you, because I feel the way you feel. It's like, Ray, why you not running the label? Because I don't think it's possible. I don't think they'll let me. It's just the way. And by the way, I don't focus on what I can't have access to. I focus on what I do have access to. And that's why I'm doing this fucking show and I do this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I just go there. But what do you think about the direction where the business is going, where they're giving youth power? Like, what do you think about that?
So I tell you, nothing ever started yesterday or today.
Yeah.
There's always a prelude, right? So one of the things that I know that's missing from the industry is middle management, senior vice president of marketing, of radio, of digital or whatever, right? And then the head of marketing, and then the product managers, right? And they, you know, as you came into a company, you would be an assistant, an intern, an assistant, a product manager, a head of marketing, a senior vice president. You'd work your way up, right? And you learn, and you take your hard knocks on the way through. Yeah. You work late nights, you get up early morning, and you get let down by artists, and you get up and you go again the next day, and then you find one, right? And it takes off, and your reputation builds, and you're learning from everyone around you, right? You've got L.A. Reid at the top, you've got Leo Cohen at the top, you've got Kevin Lyles at the top, you've got all these people, the Stringers, the Maxes, like, don't care who they are, they're at the top. And you want to be them, or you want to get close to them, right? But that journey is what really builds your thick skin and your skills.
Your ability to deal with shit, yeah.
Right. What happened was, about 10 years ago, when, 10, 12 years ago, when the streaming came into play and digital opportunity and social media opportunity to make money and create exposure, someone somewhere said, we don't have to pay these people anymore. We don't have to. We don't care about.
You're so right, bro.
We don't have to develop these people anymore. We're going to cut all these middle people out. What are we going to do? We're going to get a bunch of dumb, young, enthusiastic youngsters to come in from this new generation who think they know it all, right? And who are happy to have the sign above and are happy to get more clicks and more followers, right? And we're going to pay them 80 grand. They've never seen that money before. Yep. And they're all going to be between 20 and 30, right? And we're going to give them all the power in the world. And we don't care how they behave. We don't care how they talk. And then we're going to sign loads of artists because we can put them all up on all these services because they can. And we're going to make that much money and more, right? Without having to spend the money or develop the acts. And having specialists in each area that want to push back against us to do the right thing for culture, for creativity, for progress, for their own mental health, for God, for everything correct. We don't have to deal with none of that because we're in a digital world. And guess what happened?
I'm listening.
It all fell apart, brother. I think there's something like I think only 15 to 20% of people on the digital platforms have more than 1 million listeners. It's a terrible, you get 0.03 cents.
They said only 10,000 artists in the entire world have over 10,000 monthly listeners.
Right. So that we can get all the statistics we want, Ray. They're all out there, right? It's failed. The exercise has failed.
But what's next then?
So they've got to redo it. Listen, Lucian sent a note out to everyone at Universal about a year ago, basically saying we have to rethink how we
approach,
roll.
yeah.
Right now, they can the major labels can do what they want. What they can't survive without, and I think from a brand perspective and a creative perspective, is the TDEs and the Young Moneys of this world. That's what brings the energy, and the culture, and the gravitas.
Yeah.
That's what brings have you been around some of these pop artists? They got zero personality, brother.
You telling me?
Right? Zero. Right? And we've been around Jay, we've been around Rihanna, we've been around A$AP Rocky. I'm just going down names that I already know. We've been around Kanye, and some of them, are crazy and go crazy. But that's what. Listen, we know what Puff has done, and a few other artists have done. They're not the first, brother. Right? You lot were doing that with rock music and heavy metal.
I'll tell anybody, go listen to or go read Walter Yetnikoff's book.
Right.
It starts off with him saying, more cocaine, more prostitute. And I got the audio book.
Right.
By the way, this is in his office.
Right.
He's like, I need to have sex. I need prostitutes. I need coke. In the office.
Right.
That's where we come from. So
he had some mentors and some examples of how not to behave.
Yes.
Right? So did a lot of other people. Right? And I'm not saying that, by the way, he's innocent until proven guilty.
For sure.
I'm just talking about the fact that they're blaming him and putting it all on him. But it was happening 20 years before.
Everybody.
And you lot were hiding behind the fact there was no social media. Right? So while I don't condone bad behavior, I'm not gonna let them stick it all on Puff.
Yeah.
I really am not.
Yeah.
Right? And if he's done some stuff that he should never have done, then unfortunately we can't help him.
Yeah.
But don't let him be the catalyst, please.
Nah.
Right? So that's my point.
I always tell people, I think Puff and Jay and those guys, I think they really changed the game because they became successful. If you look at history, right? Like black music was R&B in the 90s, right? Rap was around, but that was like kid shit. That was like, we ain't taking that serious.
Right.
And then the 90s come and they're like, hold on, these guys are really gonna be here. Let's start investing in a couple. Let's give a couple of label deals. All those people that gave label deals wound up being worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Meanwhile, so now people like myself is like, man, I want to do what Puff and Jay is doing. So now I'm chasing the entrepreneur route. Meanwhile, while we're all over there chasing the entrepreneur route, the establishment that supports the entrepreneurs is all being filled up with people that don't look like us.
Right.
Because there was a point in time where the job was whack. Like Puff and those guys made working a whack. It was almost like, you got a job, nigga? Like, dog, Damon Dash is famous for the boss statement. Like, you're a boss. You're not a boss. So it's like we came from a world where,
right.
yeah, you had to be a boss and all this other shit. And I think that what happened was we looked away and we left that seat open and all these boys in there. And now, by the way, nobody is filthy rich working for record labels. Nobody working for these labels is being filthy rich. They're getting paid a salary that's being taxed, which means they can't even hide the money, invest it or anything to put it away until they want to pay taxes. They can't invest in capital gains. They can't do nothing. They just got to pray that they just get taxed, and they got to just pray that they keep their job and they stay in position. It's important that we talk about that because that's why now we want the jobs. Now we're like, man, why is none of us in the jobs? We didn't want it in the 90s.
Tough economical times as well right there right now.
That's true too. That by the way, that's true too. But I just wanted to stress that I always fuck with people, like I always fuck with Shaka Zulu and them. I'm like, y'all the reason why the game fucked up. What do you mean? I'm like, cause y'all didn't stay in the game. Y'all built your own games within the game, and it was nothing left. By the way, Shaka and Jeff, they could leave. They could leave DTP to their kids, but like Def Jam is still making how much money off it?
Right. But there was someone behind them though, right? But they weren't given the opportunity.
That's true.
Or maybe they got caught up in the digital and social media world, or maybe they didn't have the same work ethic. I don't know, right? But what I'm saying is the opportunity for Jeff and Shaka to teach the next group of people wasn't presented to them.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Or it was, but they weren't in a position to house it.
But that's my point.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, as I'm saying, because I'm gonna say, because when the same people weren't presented, they had like I'm a part of DTP. Tunde and LVRN, they all are. PK, we got Brent Fayez, we all a part of that. But if DTP don't have overhead,
yes,
to not just to pay you here's $100,000 a year for you, no, to be able to say, yo, y'all want to start your own LVRN thing?
Yeah.
Here goes some money.
Yeah.
And if they had that, but why would the structures don't want to give that to them because it's empowering?
And we know the
Black
money's
men.
there because I think someone paid $100 million for 10K,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the money's there.
It's all there.
Right. So that comes right back to what you were saying. So listen, we're not bleating. We're not trying to point a finger at anybody or dig people out. We're just saying, let's be fair.
Yeah.
Let's spread the wealth.
And the minute you say let's be fair, let's also be clear. The minute you yell let's be fair, you will be ostracized by the system.
Yeah.
That's why I'm on a podcast, because I wrote a letter saying, hey guys, let's be fair.
Yeah, but they
They said, nigga, we hate you.
They don't want to be put on front street.
And to me, it's the weirdest thing, because
Right.
it's like imagine me moving to a town and there's nothing but like Chinese people there, and I'm like the big black man. I'm taking like, and I don't acknowledge their culture. I don't get it's like that's the playing in the face part that I hate.
Yes,
like because
yes.
it's like, nigga, I've been in these rooms. Like, dog, I say his name, Tom Corson. I never forget when Jay-Z name came up. He said, nobody wins with him. He's the only one that wins with him. And I'm like, ain't that how it's supposed to be?
Right.
Ain't that how we do our deals? So don't y'all do your deals with 85-15 split with a distribution fee on top of that and all the costs on top of that? So y'all stay winning? But when he does it, nobody does business with. It's like, oh, wow, that's what we are now. And and to be honest with you, I've never even said that publicly, but you know how this is being in back rooms. You be trying to do business with your niggas. I remember, what about David Miller, man? He broke up. Oh, well, he's too much. It's
No, that's exactly what it is. So I think I have a unique relationship with a bunch of executives. Maybe it's my English accent. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I don't come across as hard. Maybe I'm British. I don't know, right? I have real conversations with these executives. Privately.
Yeah.
They don't want to be put on front.
Nobody does.
Right. So that's what we got to find the balance between.
That's
right?
where we at right now.
Because, Ray, it's their world.
But you know where we at right now? I might get a sign, guys, right there where that drink's at, where it says Front Street.
Right.
Nigga, you getting put on Front Street on here, nigga.
Right.
If you don't want to be on Front Street, that means you doing bad.
We can't lie to ourselves. You can't sleep at night, right? But we know there's a game to play.
Yeah.
There's politics, Ray, where there's money, there's politics, brother.
Say that again.
And that where there's money, there's politics. So, and you can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. And I'm gonna say something else too, that I need to say out loud. This narrative that's being pushed out there about artists should be signed to independent labels and not majors. Please stop that conversation.
Okay.
Please stop.
I don't say that, but why you say that?
And I'll tell you for why. Because most artists come into the game because they want the world to hear their music.
Yeah.
You want your world to hear music, you need to be signed to a major. First thing. You want your world to hear your music, you need to be distributed by a major, right? You want your world to hear your music, you need a major label to promote you in the 50 or 60 offices they've got around the world, right? That's what you need.
That's the advantage that they have.
Or, of course, what the problem is that because you don't know the business, your manager doesn't know the business because he's your homie, and everyone around you is yes men who are from around the way, they don't understand a thing about the industry. You walk into these rooms, you all feel good, you're doing social media, and the labels are treating you with a contempt that you almost deserve because you're walking in not knowing what to do or say. You're playing yourself, right? Get educated, go in, start a label of your own and get distributed by a major.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, your music only comes out in this place, that place. No one pays any attention. You're never going to be that star. Oh, there's Brent Fryers. Oh, there's this. No, you may be able to pick 10
Yeah.
There's 140,000 releases every day.
They're more the exception than they are the rule.
Of course,
Yeah.
right? So
But everybody thinks they're the exception.
Right. That's my point. Right, but you're not, and we've got to change that narrative because you need a professional network around you. Get yourself a good manager. Read up, learn about the industry, learn about business. Be professional. Put your music out. Be consistent. You said it earlier. Know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Know how to communicate. You can't walk into a room thinking you're the bee's knees.
Yeah.
You know, when no one knows who the hell you are. You know what I'm saying? You've got to change your approach. And that's going to help our culture succeed.
Yeah.
Right? And that's important. And then, by the way, when you make that money, you become successful, you can start a label of your own. You can sign artists to that label and teach them how to do it. And that's how you become successful. And then, on top of that, let me kill the 360 myth. Oh, why didn't you sign a deal? Oh, the label wanted a 360 deal. You know, I told them niggas to go fuck themselves. Yeah, of course you did. Yeah, that's right. 360. If you ask anybody what 360 means, Ray, they can't tell you. All they will tell you is, hey, the label takes a bit. Yo, the label, once you sign with them, they're taking 60, 70%, 80% of your money anyway. But you still want to sign with them.
Period.
Right? You just got to know how to navigate the other percentage that you have. And trust me, if you look at Kanye, if you look at Rihanna, if you look at Neo, if you look at Flo Rida, if you look at all these artists, Usher, they've turned that situation into global multi-million-dollar success.
Yeah, and by the way, if you look at their income, probably 5% of their income is from recorded music.
Right.
Recorded
There you
music
go.
and publishing. Probably 5 to 7%
So
is recorded
here's-
music and publishing.
so
The
here's
rest
the
is
thing.
appearances, shows, everything.
360 means that if you know what you're doing when you go in and you do the deal and you're sitting down with the head of marketing or the head of the label or the general manager, if you know what you're talking about, 360 means that you are now obligated to have, let's say, 10 t-shirts in every single country around the world with retail.
Yeah.
That's what 360 means,
Yeah.
right? It means that every time I put a show, a tour up on sale, you are part and parcel of the machine that helps sales tickets, right? You are a catalyst to my global success.
Yeah.
Right, on every single level. You make them work for that money.
Yeah.
And you have this machine that's unrivaled, but instead you want to go and sign for bumfuck.com because you feel you're independent. And you're going to spend the next 10 years of your life trying to be heard, right? You might as well go and do the lottery.
I agree.
So that's something I really wanted to get out there. You know, there are some brilliant individuals. Ask Ghazi, right? Look what Empire doing. Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
They still can't compete.
I would say Ghazi needs you right now. Because I know he's working on the international thing, but like if Empire got you,
I've done some work with him. He's on a different tip. The guy's got a brilliant brain. He's absolutely superb at doing his thing, but you can't. Not everybody can be everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can't work for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So,
for sure.
So I get it. But you have got a point. But I still admire everything he's doing. And I'd love to be part of what he's doing.
Yeah, you and him together be fire because he's a hustler and he's really smart. And I know his goal is overseas because I know he's been spending time in Nigeria and everything in Africa. So I know this. So
the guy's brilliant.
Yeah.
And then you've got United Masters. You've got there's another label in Africa that I've forgotten the name of. I'm terrible with names at times. Right, there's lots of pockets of labels, but no superstars within them.
That's real.
Right, and to get to Rihanna's a billionaire, Jay-Z's a billionaire, Kanye's a billionaire, right? To get halfway, you just need to get halfway. But fuck it, give me a quarter.
Yeah.
You need to be, and that's all you. But the independent route is like shooting in the dark.
I got you. I have 3 more questions. Then we go. This one is, I just have to ask you this because you're so brilliant to me, and this don't have nothing to do with it. But I want to know. Give me some. I would say 3 of the most brilliant music execs you've ever worked with.
Whew.
You've worked with. That's like brilliant at their job.
Wow.
That's a good one, right? Because you don't work with everybody. Leo, LA, like I'm wondering as someone who's worked with them on such a high level, by the way, just because you're not saying somebody else, that's why I'm not saying who's not, but I'm just
I don't want to
who
miss
is?
one. So, wow. So the greatest ever is Julie Greenwald. Greatest ever. One, because she's a woman. I'm telling you, in a man's world.
Yeah.
Right? Two, because she's actually brilliant.
Yes.
Right? She can read the temperature from 100 yards away of a room, of an artist, of an executive, the people with them. You know what I'm saying? She's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? Across all genres. I have to say, one of my mentors, Mervyn Lynn,
Okay.
who nobody knows outside of the UK, but he was MD of Motown in the UK. He's worked independently with labels, and he was the one that kind of started the movement at Sony BMG of supporting black music artists, right? So the Biggies, the whole Bad Boy roster, Next, Arista, the whole thing. He was 100% behind that. And you Boys to Men, when they were at Motown, he's the one I mean, it was incredible, right? So he's brilliant. I think the third one, I'd have to say Kevin Liles. He drives me crazy.
I love Kev. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not speaking at the moment.
Okay.
Right.
That's even better reason to say his name.
But we don't care.
Yeah.
Right. Because I know he loves me.
Yeah.
Right. And I love him. And he's an important part of my career, very important part. But again, he's brilliant because he always has the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and him and Julie were tremendous together, but like two bulls in a pen at one point, so they had to kind of separate and then come back together, right? But they're brilliant in different ways. When it comes to our culture, there's no one better. And I think he and I work really well together because he was like success no matter what, and I'd be like, but Kevin, let's think about this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we're trying to do so.
So you're the pragmatic one. He was the go. Like, I love that.
But I wouldn't even we're not on the same level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kevin is there,
Yeah.
right? And has been for a long, long time. And I look up to him, and he's mentored me.
Yeah.
So I think Kevin,
Julie,
and Mervyn Lynn.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, we have this thing we do called credit check. Credit check. You know, people always say give such and such his flowers. We don't give flowers on this show.
Right.
Give me my credit. I can leverage that.
Right.
So I asked you to name 2 to 3 unsung heroes in the David Miller story. Unsung heroes that you want to give some credit to. Shoot some credit.
That's an interesting question. So one is Michael Richardson, who now co-manages Mariah Carey.
Yeah, he was Mariah, I know that.
Yeah, and people will see him. If they see him, we kind of look a little bit alike.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit better looking. We're both British, bald, wear glasses, you know what I'm saying? But he's worked with Mariah since...
the beginning of time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe for 25, 30 years.
Wow.
Right? And anyone who survived with a superstar like that for that long has definitely seen some stuff. But no one really knows who he is. But he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Yep. So Michael Richardson is one.
Yep, he's definitely one. Unsung heroes. Damn.
Because he put you in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Really. Yeah. I would say another one is Maurice Landy.
Okay.
I don't know if you know him. He was like executive president of promotions at Atlantic for a long time. Again, he's worked for Sony, and again, he worked with Mariah years ago, and he was head of radio promotions at Atlantic for years, and Trey Songz and T.I., and he was at the basis of all B.O.B., of all those black, and I worked with him for 10 years at Atlantic, but no one really knows his name. People in the radio
I never even
business
heard his name before.
Right, him and Doc Winter are really good friends. They're like buddies.
Doc Winter is head of VP of Urban Programming for Radio.
I think iHeart now.
iHeart now.
Yeah. So I don't think enough people know his name.
Okay.
Right. So that's two.
You got one more?
Morris, Michael Richardson. There's got to be one more.
DW. No, like Devon said, I didn't come up.
No.
That's how. By the way, that's how we share a brother.
Yeah,
that introduced us,
that's
and
my family.
and we always fuck with him because he ain't here right now.
David Wilshire no flowers. He can do it. That's my guy. That's my brother. No, that's my. We're so close. It's frightening. I'm trying to think of someone that people can reference and look and go, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? But they're the other one I would say. Let me tell you the other person. Eric Wong.
Eric Wong. He's head of
He's now
international for Universal, right?
for Warner's. No,
for Warner now. Yeah,
he's
Warner.
in the Warner system.
He was at
They give-
Universal at one point when I think
Yes,
so. Yeah, I was
yes,
there when he was there. Yeah.
So he's been again part of my career, like again from way back. He was involved in Mariah, and he worked with me at Atlanta. Our careers kind of followed each other, and he worked on the rock side a bit and the pop side when we was at Def Jam, and did some of those rock action, the Killers, and a couple of the Canadian acts. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant marketeer, Asian, great guy, understated. Listen, he did a marketing plan for Puff, and it was that big.
Wow.
Yeah, so we worked on a lot of projects together. We
like
mirrored
that.
a lot of projects.
You know, think about it, right? The guys flooded that.
Yeah.
All right, last question.
Yeah.
This is called
Eric Wong, Maurice Landy, and Mervyn Lin. Yes, good.
Love
Mark
that.
Richardson.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is called the GAUDs Show. GAUDs is an acronym for GOATs and Underdogs. That's what it stands for. The last question we ask every guest is, do you consider yourself a GOAT or do you consider yourself an underdog? If you do consider yourself an underdog, I mean, what would you have to accomplish for you to feel like I'm the GOAT?
So that's an interesting question because I think I'm both.
That's a good answer then.
I'm definitely the best that's ever did it.
I'm gonna let this nigga, man. I love you, bro. Like, don't ever stop that.
No. I mean, listen. I'm trying to find another black man from Europe that's done what I've done. Please tell me one.
I love you, man.
There ain't one, right?
Yeah.
So and I never take the credit solely for what I've done. I always explained I couldn't do it without the team that I've been part of. You know, it was a great team at Def Jam, some super executives that were there that I used to lean on and say, let me do my thing.
Yeah.
And they let me do my thing, right? And it was same at Atlantic. And it was a fantastic experience. But without them, I couldn't be. But guess what? I made sure that I fulfilled their trust every single time.
Got you.
And they could put me in any room. If they wanted that room to be credible and serious, I was in that room. And there's no one from where I come from, anywhere in Europe, that's done anything like what I've done.
Well, my answer to you is that this couch is usually over there, and we usually do that film over there. We pulled this couch out and all this shit for you, because you're a GOAT, nigga.
All right.
Like it's funny because you know when I interview people, like, and I tell my team sometimes like who, and I'm like I literally like he's a legend. When he opens his mouth, you'll know who he is. Like, because you know a lot of the times people like us, we're told to sit in the corner, and in the new season we in, you can't sit in the corner,
Right.
Because, you know, you might be the greatest person for an artist, but this other kid is talking about all the shit he did.
Right.
So that artist signed to him when you could have took him globally, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's important. But man, I just want to tell you, man, we celebrate you. I learned from you. I hope everybody watching learn from you. I can't believe that somebody is just like, if somebody gave me president, CEO job, when it's come to In-N-Out's first person is coming to see is you. Because you that dope. So this is the GAUDs Show. Shout out to our sponsor. Shout out to David Miller. We are out. Let's go.